and gentlemen, and welcome to Off Point at 30, Season 3, baby girl. Akia.
We made it.
I was going to do the sexy intro voice, but but we've been seducing Holly with it for some time. So I just want to introduce our one of our coolest guests. No offense to the others, but someone who I've been wanting to interview for about 3 years since I met her, and also haven't actually met her in person until today. The editor of Psychology Today has told me that you're a myth.
Yeah.
And would not accept the interview that I offered when you and I did our first interview. She wouldn't accept it because apparently you shouldn't exist. But here you are.
I'm real.
Yeah, she's real. We got one. Yeah, we found her. I don't know how I found her. Thank you very much to Dr. Lou for setting that one up. But yeah,
I love Dr. Lou.
We love Dr. Lou. Yeah, well, not as much as we used to, but yeah. Well, no, I mean, she's lovely. Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast. We're glad to have you.
The only person who's going to listen to it is Dr. Lou, and I'm going to get howler. But she's not even a doctor anymore. She's a miss now. She's fucking cool.
Yeah, have a miss too.
Oh yeah, all right. No, yeah, all right. You don't have to, Oh, look at me, I get to hold knives.
Yes. Okay, so do you want to eventually end?
I'm too excited. We've been chatting for an hour. It's like whole gin and tonic later. Okay, so Holly.
Yes.
Tell us, what's it like to be a surgeon with ADHD?
Oh, it's got its pros and cons. It's difficult. I was diagnosed about just over 3 years ago, whilst I was doing my core surgical training. That's when I met Dr. Lou.
Yep.
And I was very lucky to be with a supportive team who just helped me through the whole diagnosis. I then moved on to a very not supportive team.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was waiting to tell you this one.
Oh my God, you held back on that
I held back on it.
Because I remember when you were telling me about it before, and you were just like, and you were saying how it's like, Ollie, over here. And you were like, oh yeah, knee bone's connected to the thigh bone.
Is it? So I've had both ends of the spectrum in terms of support. Sorry, neurodivergence.
Pun 5.
And I went to a different hospital following that one, whereby I later found out after a few months that a meeting had been held in which they were told I had ADHD before I arrived.
Fuck
and
off.
2 out of 6 consultants decided they would never let me into theatre.
What the fuck?
I know.
But you notice things that other people wouldn't notice. So if something goes wrong and it's a crisis, then that's when we're the most...
Yeah.
That's when you want your crazy person.
But I was told by my supervisor... So after a couple of months of being...
What the fuck? Sorry.
That's okay. After a couple of months of being in this job role... my supervisor said, I need to apologise to you because I...
Didn't know shit.
Well, no, he was lovely. He was lovely throughout. He said, I prejudged you before you arrived and you're not anything that I thought you would be like. But he realised that I couldn't understand why 2 of the consultants would never let me into their theatres.
That's insane.
Having never
That's
seen me
such
operate.
prejudice. Could you imagine if it was like that because you were black or something?
Yeah, exactly.
No offense. Like,
sorry to interrupt. I just want to take you back to your journey with ADHD and how you got your medical qualification and got on to being a surgeon in the first place.
Yeah.
And how did you struggle in school?
Oh my gosh. Well, I was quite good at sort of primary, secondary school, mainly because my parents were very supportive and my mother was a Montessori trained teacher. So looking back when I was younger, she admits now, she's like, oh, there was something that was different about you, but she changed her teaching style to adapt to my learning style.
right, so important.
And yeah, she's amazing. And even my dad was great at doing a lot of the more creative things with me to help me kind of get rid of energy and things like that. But in my family, I'm the first person to go to university.
Wow.
I think I'm the first one to finish sixth form as well.
Wow.
So my parents have always been extremely supportive, but I've always struggled with exams, and we would sometimes joke that the first sit of an exam was just like practice run because I would, take a while to get there. And then I struggled a bit in sixth form. I was told I would never be a doctor by a couple of teachers, but then I had a couple of teachers who were very supportive.
That's always good.
But then I did biology as my first degree. Nothing was picked up then. I got the award for the highest achievement, aka
You were just interested in it, wasn't it?
Yeah, no. I wasn't doing very well in my first and second year, but I pulled it back for my third year. So they were like, we've not really seen anyone jump from such a low grade to high grade in their final year. I was like,
when push comes to shove, fuck yeah.
But nothing picked up. And then went to medicine. And during my medical degree, I failed my first year. Wow. Had some health issues as well. And then I...
Was that stress or was it...
just some other stuff.
Business, gotcha.
That's all right. No, don't worry.
No, absolutely.
And then they offered to send me for a dyslexia test, and I said, no, thank you, I am not dyslexic. My spelling is fine, not realising actually there's a whole load of things that come with dyslexia.
So, what age did you realise that you had ADHD?
So I didn't realise it. So then I
became a full-on journalist before I realised.
I
was writing for the Nationals.
I became a doctor, and then I was struggling to pass the surgical exam, the MRCS. Sat it twice before I moved to Southampton to start my core surgical training. And then when I arrived there, they said, look, if anyone's sat it twice and they're struggling, we're here to help you. I thought, okay, I'll take any help I can get. And they asked to send me for a dyslexia test. So again, I said, fine, I agree. And I remember saying, I'm going to prove to them I'm not dyslexic. And then 4.5 hours after my sort of like this whole questioning with dyslexia with this lovely psychologist, she said, I think we can both agree that you have dyslexia. I was like, yep, okay, I agree.
Fine. And a dick about it.
Yeah. And then she said, but I picked up something else, and I think you have ADHD. And it took me a few moments at first. I was like, really? And then everything made sense. And
And what age?
How did that feel?
So that was December 2019. So I was 29. I sat my third sit of this exam in January, but I couldn't have any of the extra time because it was too late, and failed it again.
Of course you did though, because it's like
but only by a few percent. And then...
And Les, what age were you when you discovered that?
30.
30.
Yeah, but like, I mean, how did you feel when you figured it out? Sorry, we didn't mean to interrupt you there. But
no, it's okay. We interrupt each other. It's great.
Yeah, exactly. It's the layer.
Hi, ADHD.
I love the layer. We were talking about this before we started filming. It's like when two ADHD people talk, we just layer. Yeah, my girlfriend has no concept of it. That's right. I've got another one. Try and stop.
Yay! But it's a long-term one.
Hopefully, yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's been 9 months, and hopefully it'll be a bit further. Anyway,
over 4 months.
Yeah, anything over the 4 months. Yep. When they go past this sort of double check, make sure that they're okay. Everything's okay. 6 months to be sure.
Get some red wine.
Yeah, of course. You
wine.
Speaking of long-term people who've had to suffer up with me, love you. Who loves you, Marlon? Leslie loves you. Okay, yeah. So,
and then, so then I got my official diagnosis, I think in the June that year, because I had to go to an official psychiatrist.
What year was that again? Sorry.
So then that was 2020, so I was 30 when I got
me.
Yeah, exactly.
Holy shit, we got it literally at the same time. Mm-hmm. Oh, girl. Yeah, I knew that. I know I knew that before, but I forgot about that. That's so cool. Yeah. Oh, you have so much fun.
So does it like put tell me more. When you found that, was it like a eureka moment? Was it like, this makes sense now? This
oh my gosh,
puts everything into place.
I was reading through the interview notes that we made 3 years ago, essentially. Yeah. And I described it as lots of random pieces of a puzzle that had finally been put together that I'd never been able to fit together because I just couldn't understand it. And finally, a lot of it made sense. And I'd been getting very frustrated with myself in the months leading up to that diagnosis. I couldn't understand why my brain worked differently, why I would interrupt people, why I couldn't concentrate or focus on things that were important.
Yeah. And you always think that it's like, it's you. And and because because people keep coming up. Did you find that people come up to you like, why are you like this? Because they're not psychologists, but you're like, I don't know. For me as a journalist, it would be like, why did you make this mistake though? Because you're smart, you're intelligent, what's going on with you? And you're like, I don't know, but it's your fault automatically in the way that it's approached. But even though I don't blame anyone who's ever fired me for stuff, but I have the same thing was like, you don't know either. So you just think, shit.
What's wrong with me?
And then it's like, why am I different? Yeah. That's the bit that always gets you.
Why am I different?
Why can't I make this work even though I'm cleverer than all my friends? That's what they said, not me.
So modest.
Love you, Marlon. But come on, let's face it.
I got a question. I got a question for both of you.
Yeah.
Did it make you feel a bit angry, like I have this thing that I can't control? It's been diagnosed, it's the reason for all these mishaps in my life. Possibly, did you blame?
Nope. It's just like the puzzle pieces come together and everything makes sense. And then, but I did cry a bit.
I cried.
I cried for about 2 hours. For about 2 hours, I sat there, very emotional. I was like kind of in a room in Chile. In Peru. Was it Peru or Chile? No, it was Chile. in Santiago when I kind of finally got around to reading it. I had a huge fight with my mate, and huge fight. Ironically, about stuff that people with ADHD do. But because it was disrupting the project we're doing, and and it's just I didn't know. I thought I was doing okay. I was really trying so hard, but then you read through it, and you're like, "Fuck, man, this really isn't my fault. This is just it's not everyone else, but it's not my fault."
It's just the way your brain is wired.
But you've hated yourself for it for so long.
Yeah.
And the guilt and the shame and the frustration and there's nothing more frustrating than being in the dark when everyone else can see.
Yeah.
And it's like and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, this makes sense. And then instead of it, and then what they always say, this is a typical trope, is, what was it? We're all a bit ADHD is one of them, but
no, because it just belittles actually.
And then all of a sudden you're being sacked for actual ADHD symptoms by someone who says we're ADHD as well. In other words, you forget your keys occasionally, bitch. You know how many times it took me to get out the door today? 3. Okay.
Oh, I did that
locked
the
the door, unlocked it, went inside, came back outside, couldn't find my keys, went back inside to try and fucking find them. 10 minutes later, couldn't find them.
But see, this is one of the things. So I had some of my friends stay over the other night, and I was like, so I keep my keys on my door. And literally, I have to keep them hung on my door because otherwise I will forget them when I leave home. And you come up with all these coping mechanisms and strategies.
You're going to love my flat. Everything's out in the open. I've just written an article about that. It's everything.
Yeah. And also, if you can't see something, it doesn't exist. You can't put food at the those drawers in the fridge.
Yep.
Nope. If they're in there, that's it. They're gone.
Yep. Even people.
I know, and it's a shame because you love them.
You love them so much.
And you probably think about them every day, but then in the time that you need to be contacting them, you struggle.
Yeah. Or if they haven't messaged you or whatever. Because for example, when we were chatting,
I'm really bad at my phone. I'm awful.
But the thing is though that it's because you always the 3 messages minimum. Do you whitewall people as well?
What's that?
Whitewalling's where you write loads and stuff. I think we've discussed this with Willow before, didn't we? Where it's so it's where you kind of bomb them with a big paragraph.
But it's mainly because this is something I really struggle with, because I will receive a message from one of my friends who I love, and I will literally think about my friends every day, and in the moment I'll be like, oh, I'm at work or something, and I want to spend the right amount of time actually replying to them because that's what they deserve.
Yeah.
But then I will forget because I get distracted. And then in my head, it's like I've responded to them because I have responded in my head about how much I love them and I want to, what I would have wanted to put in a message. And then I realize, oh crap, I haven't messaged them. And then you feel that guilt and you're like, okay, well now I really need to sit down and spend time to message them. No, but because also I struggle to message on my phone. I'm much better if I have a keyboard. So then I need to sit down
wait till you got the laptop. Anything more?
But
voice
then
notes last more than 10 minutes from keyboard time.
Thing is, I love sending voice notes.
Yeah.
If you send me voice notes, can't handle it.
Won't do it.
Cannot handle it.
My mate Nikki and I will do that about twice. She'll reply and I'll be like, "Buff, done."
Yeah.
But you love sending voice notes.
I love sending them. Thank you.
Hold the button, no problem at all. I'll do it when I'm not driving.
But then I know if I send one and then someone sends one back, I struggle. I can't do it.
That's interesting. In what 10 minutes am I supposed to listen to this 30-second message?
I'm not that confident. I'm not a confident speaker.
You're doing great.
Yeah.
I'm not. So if I was to send a voice note, no, I would have to do multiple takes.
Really?
Yeah. So you've
voice notes just be rambling like, anyway, I know that I'm repeating myself. The last 30 seconds you might as well delete.
So you sent me voice notes in the past, and I'll be like, this guy. I tried to do it back, and I'm like, delete.
Everything comes out with me. I was driving over bricks one time because they fell off a truck, and I was like, lots of swear words, and it was to my junior. I'm like, I'm really sorry. I'm driving over. Shit! Like this.
She said shit.
Oh my god! Beep. Beep.
Fucking hell, really. You're supposed to be a professional. But now, this is what's wrong with the NHS.
No, it's all my fault.
But now, thank God I know next time you send me a voice note, I don't need to bother sending you one back.
No, fuck off.
No.
All you ever do is write back,
that's perfect.
Fucking Marlon.
But then I find
a few words, but he's efficient.
Oh, but that's good. That's good because we like efficiency in other people. We're not just
ourselves. Anything more than 2 paragraphs. I mean, my missus just sent me like 5 messages in a row, and I was like, fine, I'm going to go to the toilet and deal with this because that's where it's quiet.
Yes, it's finding
toilet
quiet
time,
space.
No problem at all.
Yeah. Well, no, I still get distracted.
Sorry.
So you got diagnosed at what, 29?
So then official diagnosis was at 30.
Yeah.
And then I was with the great team, then with a bad team, but they did me a favor because it made me realize how lucky I have been because I haven't had that stigma.
Yeah.
And it's made me very vocal about my diagnosis since then because
If you're open about it, people get like that. You get to how do you find people react to it? Because I mean, you're like the top. You know, like I mean, not to kind of put the pressure on, but if you fuck up, you know, like, it has serious consequences. Whereas if I fuck up, it's just a typo, or you know, if someone tries to sue us.
But before we continue, did we actually break down what it is you actually do?
Oh yeah, big one.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's always the context is king. Context is king.
So I'm a doctor and I am.
You're a surgeon,
I'm a surgeon. Yeah, but I just wanted to know. I'm a doctor, surgeon.
A little bit of both. Or?
No, well,
how does it work?
Graduated as a doctor, then you become a surgeon. I did my exams. And I am specialising in urology, not neurology, urology.
Urology is
and is that for both men and women?
Yeah.
You must have seen a lot of dicks.
Yeah.
Tell us about the dicks. What constitutes as a fine penis?
Oh no.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were holding back. We want to know. Go on, lads. Get
it.
No.
So a couple years ago.
You don't have to get that personal, mate. I mean, come on. A
couple years ago,
know about that one.
No, a couple of years ago, I went to a urologist for.
We flopped out the guy. We stuck it for an anaconda. Dude, that thing's like Thor's hammer. It just swings like a pendulum.
I feel like I'm red.
They call it Big Ben for a reason.
Oh no.
He's never seen it in his life.
No.
Have you ever seen his wife without a smile on her face?
Yeah, he's a good friend.
It's what he imagined it to be.
Honestly, it looks like this.
I don't know why you spend.
Yeah, why are you imagining this?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the most interesting thing about you, Marlon.
It's not that
interesting. 2 years ago, Marlon.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, I went to a urologist for suspected kidney stones.
Oh yeah.
So I had to go there. You had to do this whole thing where you fill up your bladder, start drinking like a litre of water and everything.
Okay.
And you do like I guess it's some sort of ultrasound.
Did
they do an ultrasound?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it was it's just interesting doing that. It's a scary process as a man to go through that.
Yeah.
So just want to talk to you how do men handle that process when they come to see you?
You know what, it's interesting because it's urology covers kidneys, bladders, prostates, penises, testicles.
So many questions about the prostate thing, but yes, go on.
But it's interesting getting some of the younger sort of teenage boys or even 20s and 30s
when you're like, all right, let's
when you have
to
examine them. But that's understandable. And
do you ever quietly mention to people who are nervous, like, oh wow, that is big, or something like that?
No,
that would make me feel so much better
I'm
if a doctor said, medically speaking, you have a fantastic penis.
No, but the thing is, though, when you go to
keep it professional.
I had that once.
When you go to a doctor, you get stage fright. You get
and it's so understandable.
It jumps back inside of you.
You're just like, it's like, come on, boy.
I have had comments like, I'm nervous and I'm
nervous. Yeah, we know.
The thing is,
sitting there and it's like tiny weenie.
Oh
and
no!
You're like, fuck, man. I swear.
It's a very weird thing.
And you ask for extra large condoms afterwards. They're like, yeah, sure, mate. Go on then. They start at extra large for fuck's sake.
It climbs back inside of you.
Yeah, and that's the worst bit when you ask for the condoms beforehand, and you're like, yeah, I'm.
We don't give out condoms. We're not a gum service. We're not a gum service.
All right, we're moving forward. All right, okay, sorry.
It's a lot of people will say I'm really nervous in hospitals, and usually my answer is like, that's totally normal.
Yeah,
we're the weird ones.
There. Fuck off.
Yeah, we're the weird ones that enjoy being in hospitals, so that's understandable. And men are less likely to turn up to hospital as well, so give them kudos for coming.
Yeah.
And
sorry.
Oh gosh, yeah. lots of
Everything's
jokes.
a euphemism.
Oh yeah.
Okay, go on.
And
kudos for coming.
it's I think it's as with any specialty, everyone's a bit scared coming into hospital.
Yeah.
Being a patient myself,
it's scary to even admit that you're ill.
Yeah. I get scared going to hospital.
No one wants to be
especially with any problem with your
if it's
down there as a man. It's very scary. You feel like you're gonna die immediately.
Yeah.
And
honestly, sometimes it's like just take the leg.
Yeah. And for me, I didn't necessarily know it was a suspected kidney stone, but to me, I felt like I was gonna die.
Yeah, I bet it did. Yeah, because all of a sudden you go from being normal to what the fuck's wrong. I had food poisoning the other day. I couldn't cope.
Yeah,
I was like,
it's scary when it comes to your health because it's something that seems to be out of your control.
Yeah, it's like my little cancer scare that I was telling you about earlier.
I was like,
mate, an entire evening I gave up everything for a whole 12 hours.
When I didn't
vape.
When I went to the urologist, I was like, I know my kidneys are failing.
Yeah,
and I kept having that feeling.
It's terrifying.
But it turned out to be nothing, but. Just go in.
Yeah.
And it's scary. And I've been on the other side of it. I've been a patient and had my own.
What's that like going into? Did you have to go to your own hospital?
Wait.
I had my own team investigating me.
Fucking hell. That
Urology. I can't
that must be weird because then, like, you know that, like, the boss has seen your vagina.
Yeah.
So
she was lovely about it.
Did you make any eye contact for how long before you started making eye contact again?
It was
just
fine.
Please stop looking
no.
Quick question: did you critique their technique because you're a professional as well?
No,
and then you're like, you know what you're doing. You're good at your job and everything. So hold on. I know I can do this myself. What are you doing now?
Yeah.
No. But she's the boss. She knows what she's doing.
Right. Yeah. He's like, Sally, you got cold hands, you bitch.
You know.
And if you tell anyone,
she knew what she was doing.
You get called lightning bolt for the rest of your career.
But I think in some ways having that experience of being the patient makes you more empathetic.
Yeah. Does it make you a better doctor?
I think so. Yeah. I think so because you understand a little bit more of the fear and actually going through some investigations.
Stage fright. I mean, we were just talking about stage fright there, but I mean, like, if
I've got stage fright right now.
Giblets, I'd be like, I mean, my old boss, maybe it'd be okay because she's really hot, but sorry, shouldn't say that. Should not say that. I've got a girlfriend. Good God, I'm going to get told off.
That's going to have to get cut out.
Yeah, probably.
I'm not cutting it out. I'm not doing any edits this season.
Oh no!
You fucking are.
Oh God.
Jesus Christ, man! I have to get a job at some point. All right, a proper job, Mum. Like one that actually pays me money. All right, then go on.
Where were we?
It's fine. I don't have a mortgage. Fuck it.
So we've gone off point again.
Yeah.
Wait.
High five.
Right. Where were
we're
we?
talking about urology. Your boss seeing your bits. She doesn't have cold hands, but you should have said that she did.
No, she does. No. But I think it's. I think it is scary being a patient. I think it's helpful having had that experience, just because it makes you a little bit more, empathetic to your patients.
Yeah. So, like, what would you say would be the bit that kind of where? Have you ever been in a position where kind of moving towards? Well, actually, what's been the scariest part for you, like, in terms of as a doctor, like, like those moments? Because I know that ADHD overwhelms the thing, and like, I know that you've experienced it in the past. Mm-hmm. Like, what was kind of like the most difficult thing that you had to kind of overcome? I don't want to sound like all corporate and be like, "What's your greatest challenge?" But also, I want to hear about like the worst patient as well, or one where your ADHD interfered with your job in any way, or how do you get? Actually, no. Sorry. Let's ask
one question at a time.
It's okay. I'm understanding this.
How do you mitigate your ADHD when it comes to sort of do you ever notice that your symptoms are kicking in and you're like, okay, right now I've got to mitigate that?
Yeah.
Because otherwise it could, like.
So when I was going through getting my diagnosis after I'd seen the psychologist and was waiting for my psychiatry sort of diagnosis, one of the consultants in my hospital who, he works too hard.
You can name him, yeah.
No, he works too hard and he can be a bit scary, but he can also be nice. But I remember him taking me aside and saying, right, I've spent a few months with you and I've seen you beat yourself up, be frustrated with yourself about certain things, and now we know what's like behind that. Yeah. And he said, the advice I'm going to give you is I want you to be kind to yourself. I want you to be compassionate with yourself. And I think that's one of the it's really hard to do, but that's probably been one of the best things that's come from this diagnosis, is having that advice. I'm not the best at listening to myself,
especially because it came from him and like someone who's who's like a bit harder, and now he's got a bit of a soft spot for you.
He's very sweet, and he was never then. It wasn't like he was then easy on me because of it. He was just like, I just need you to be kind to yourself. And sometimes I forget that, but most of the time I try to, and I think
we all forget that sometimes. If somebody outside of you was to say some of the negative things that we say to ourselves, we wouldn't talk to that person.
Yeah,
we wouldn't allow somebody to say those negative things.
I have to remind myself. Would I tell my best friend this? No.
Yeah, and I'm like, sometimes I have to tell myself, it's like, like, stop. You have to look at yourself in the third person and be like, stop bullying my friend. And it's like, because if it's like you said. I mean, like, like if someone was to say something like that to you, like some of the things you say to yourself. And I remember like when you and I had a very long conversation over the summer, because we were both having a tough time like last year. And like, then we had we were talking for about 3 days. Obviously, it was off record, and we're not really going to discuss that much of it. But might do another episode, I don't know. But like, but it was like, I think at one point I said to you, it was like, "Oi, stop bullying my fucking friend," and that was it. Because it was like, because I think that particularly when you've been undermined in a way, like your career or your love life or something that you hold a lot of pride and stake in. And then it goes tits up, and no one else will take responsibility for anything, even though it will be their words, their mouth, you know, like they will have bullied you or whatever. No one wants to admit that they're a bully or that anything like that, but it will fuck you up. I mean, I know that I was made redundant recently, and you know, the confusion that came around that, and I don't hate the person who made me redundant, but you know, her attitude didn't have changed when she was being all corporate and polite versus the sarcastic bullshit and rolling her eyes before. You know, like, and she was really hot as well.
Like, you have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
She can't get over that.
My girlfriend told her it's fine. It's okay, yeah.
Good, that goes on
I'm in
record.
a secure relationship.
Good.
I've got a piece of advice for you.
Well, me?
You're blind to all women. Once you're with somebody, you're blind to all women.
But that tends to happen.
My wife does that to me sometimes. She's like, "Oh, you think that girl's pretty?" I'm like,
"Oh, that's a trap."
What girl?
Well done.
The trap.
Good
Yeah.
work.
So just give her a little background about myself. I work in higher education in a well-known university that I'm not going to name right now, but
It's Imperial.
But part of my job role is to deal with mitigating circumstances.
Yeah.
So I guess when you found out you had ADHD while you're studying, I just want to ask, did this now allow you to submit mitigating circumstances based on your situation?
I still don't.
So I had sat this exam twice.
Yeah.
Got the dyslexia official diagnosis and the I think I have ADHD diagnosis just before my third sit, so that I wasn't allowed any extra time or anything like that. It was too late, and I think at that point I'd gotten 68% in this exam, where you need
Still
about
pretty
70.
good.
Yeah, but you need about 71% to pass.
70's the first in universities.
Yeah, but I mean, surgery people want them to. And then, as we know, getting a referral to an ADHD specialist takes a long time.
Fucking ages. 2.5 years. Something.
Well, even more right now.
6 months if it's private. Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go private at the moment. I'll get to that in another
Sorry, go
bit. And then I sat the third one, was close but not quite there. And then I had a very kind GP who, I think I called her up at about the June time, saying, look, my next sit of the exam is in 3 months. I need help. I'm really struggling. And next day I had an appointment with an ADHD specialist online, which was great. Got the official diagnosis so I could trial medication.
Yeah.
And then I think I got...
If anything, it's holding up the NHS as well. And there's so many people who could benefit from you getting that diagnosis in ASAP.
Honestly, it was life-changing. A lot of the coping mechanisms that she'd suggested I was already doing, and that's thanks to my parents over the years. And then I sat my exam and got 82%.
Fuck yeah, girl.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm really proud of you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, that's
and it's
fantastic.
the first time I'd sat an exam and actually, it wasn't just scraping through. I'd done it. And then for my part B of this exam, I passed straight away.
Of course you did.
Thank you. But for me, that was really unusual.
How do you focus when you're studying? Because, I mean, it
was great difficulty.
Yeah, because I remember when I was trying to revise and stuff like that, my mum would keep haunting me. She would, for my GCSEs, she would just come along revise.
I struggled. But then things like body doubling, which we didn't realise was a thing.
Oh my God. I tried to get my neighbour to come and do that once, and they all thought I was hitting on her. So now I'm not allowed to talk to her.
Oh, God.
Well, no, they ghosted me. It was really weird. He got jealous. Now she's pregnant. I don't really care. Yeah, fuck it, whatever. Yeah. I'm quite flattered that he thought it was a threat. Yeah, well, you know.
We didn't really... I mean, this is pre-diagnosis growing up. I never used to work at a desk. I would always work at the dining room table, and I would sit at the head, and my mum would sit over there and do the accounts and things like that. So without knowing it, she was body doubling for me.
That's clever.
And certain things like that, or then I'd get a bit frustrated with work. I'd stand up and go to the piano, play a bit of piano.
That's really
to
cool.
relax myself. So even my boyfriend for our 6 months bought me a piano to try and help me.
He bought you a piano?
He bought me a little not a piano,
keyboard.
A keyboard. Sorry, he bought me a keyboard. Sorry, he bought me a keyboard. He bought me a keyboard.
Oh yeah, I mean, they cost us about the same as a ring. Some of them. Jesus Christ.
But he bought me a keyboard to help me, which is great. Yeah, no, not that big.
Sizing up for a grand piano.
Oh, that'd be nice.
Sorry, go on.
Then I passed the exam and I struggled to revise, and actually because of the recent shortage in the medication, I've been off medication for the last 3 weeks almost, and I've taken like 1 day's worth of medication in that time just because I need basically.
Sorry, why is there a shortage of medication?
I'm not sure.
We're not sure.
We're not sure, but it's worldwide.
Yeah.
So
it's not like a Brexit thing, or
I have no idea.
It's the Americans have got a problem as well, and like
Yeah,
I don't think they really diagnose it that much in Asia, because in Asia it's a very different.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially the further east you go, the less sort of mental health, I suppose, there is, so to speak. But
so I kept a few spare just for emergencies, and last Friday we had teaching for the day, and it's the first teaching I've gone to in 3 years where I didn't take medication, and I remembered why I needed it, and I had a bit of a meltdown afterwards because I was really struggling. Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I'd have been like, all right, do the breathing.
Yeah,
both of us together, just like.
Some of my colleagues realised, they're like, you're literally shaking, and I was just getting frustrated at myself that I couldn't concentrate and I couldn't retain the information, and it reminded me actually how helpful the medication was, because I've been really happy that I was off it, because actually I felt more like myself than I've done in a while, and I am happy being off it, but actually I do need
you need that little help sometimes. Yeah, I noticed that, like, when for example, I've not been up to sorry, I don't want to
no, go for it. Yeah.
Like, when I'm like, because at the moment I kind of have to do some housework, chores and things like that. I'll put stuff off and whatever, but I'll have a blitz it day, and I'll just take the meds, and I'll probably put in about 40. Usually I take about 30, but I'll take about 40 maybe on a blitz day, and then I will just power through about 20 different tasks I've been putting off for about a month. And they'll all get done within the space of 4 hours.
And you're like, wow, this task only took me 10 minutes, but I've been putting it off for 4 months.
Oh my God. Taxes, things like that, like, wait, taxes are all fine. They're definitely fine. But like, I know where the camera is.
I'm trying not to look at mine, I'm too embarrassed.
Why? It just looks like an interrogation video, you're fine. So, the murder.
Yeah. I hid the body in the woods.
Bitcoin, you were saying about your medication, how it changed kind of how you feel. But
I hadn't realised. I think it had been a slow progression, and I think it's because I was taking it more regularly over the last year.
Do you find that your tolerance kind of upped a bit more, and then you've got the 3 week period, and then you hit it again, and you're like, Pachow! Yeah,
I'm enjoying being off medication, but I do need it for some things, and that would highlight it.
Like, it's a bit like it's a bit like drinking in a way. Like not that's a terrible parallel, but it's like, sometimes usually you wouldn't need it. Yeah. But there are those evenings where you're like, fuck, I could do with the whiskey.
See, for me it's ice cream.
Oh, ice cream.
That's my weakness.
Because I saw that when we were. Yeah, you were like, oh, there's the one I haven't tried.
Oh yeah, no. Ice cream is my thing. So some people will go home, have a glass of wine, and I will eat ice cream. If I'm happy, ice cream. If I'm sad, ice cream. If I'm angry, ice cream. It just helps.
That's really cool. I mean, it's a lot healthier than what I do.
Well, ice cream? Maybe.
No, because I don't trust myself to put it away in time. So I'm like, I'll go shopping and I'll be like, oh, actually, I'm going to go see my mate. And the next thing I know is I've forgotten
like melted ice cream.
Yeah, and the van's sticky for the next 6 months because I can't be fucked.
Exactly.
Or I can be asked, it's in my mind, and every time I get in the van, I'm like, shit.
I need to do it. And it's on your to-do list for ages.
Oh my God, yeah.
Everything has to have a to-do list.
Everything needs, I mean, I have a whiteboard for this. Do you have a whiteboard?
No, I was considering getting one.
Yourself a whiteboard.
But I have lists on my phone.
Yep.
And that helps me. But again, I did this before I had my diagnosis.
What I put on the list.
Oh, see, but even things like something as simple as packing. So I have a permanent packing list on my phone.
That's a good shout.
Because I've forgotten knickers before. Like the most basic thing.
You go up to your boyfriend, I'm not wearing any panties by default.
Yeah.
He's
exactly.
Like,
and so I have a permanent packing list of anything I could possibly ever want to pack for any occasion. And I pick the ones that I need for that particular trip. And then I tick them back off again. But I learned to do that before I had my diagnosis. I had a lot of these coping things because I just realised actually I struggle. Or writing everything down. Yeah. So even at work.
That's why I became a writer.
Well, I guess a lot of these coping things are probably invented by people that have ADHD.
Yeah, but I was doing them before.
And the
fact that you already were doing them just shows how smart you are. In the first place.
No, thank you. I think
we do tend to be pretty smart.
No, I think it's just, and also having my parents have been great throughout it all, and just learning. But one thing I really always struggled with was the fact that I would interrupt people, or I would zone out of conversations completely. Same. And you could have a full-on conversation with me, and I'm great at going, yeah, and then I'd leave, and then you could ask me like, what did they say? Absolutely no clue.
Have you done that thing where you learn to memorize the last 10 words they said?
No.
Okay, because I automatically latch on to the last 10 words they say, and like my girlfriend pulled me up on this the other day because she was like, what was that? Sorry, she's Romanian. She sounds Chinese when I do impressions of her, but like but I can't help it. I can't help myself. It's fun. Sorry, babe. She's not gonna listen to this anyway. I'm not gonna let her. Safer that way.
Whereas my boyfriend will.
Oh God. Okay, right. Well, yeah. But she was like, oh yeah, what did I say? And I've got this little trick, and I'm like, you said blah 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 blah, and I got it absolutely perfect. She goes, well. And I'm like,
there must be something behind
this.
Yeah.
I got you.
But we do come up with tricks and mechanisms.
And it's born of necessity. Like, do you find that since being diagnosed, you feel a lot less shame about these things? Or do people still tell you that it's an excuse that you're making?
I feel a lot less shame. The thing is, I think I was good at masking, which is exhausting.
Masking is exhausting.
It's exhausting, but I was good at masking, so a lot of people didn't recognise them. So I think even in our last interview, like when I'd written notes, I'd said not
allowed them because they set up the speakers.
That I'd said like my friends were like, oh, but you never interrupt. I'm like, because I'm using all my concentration in our conversation not to interrupt you, so I can't I can't take in anything else because I'm just concentrating on that.
Yeah, and the thing is, you're so happy to be talking to this person. You love and you really care about them, and you're like, I love what you're saying, but it's just sometimes it's just the drift.
Yeah.
And you're just like, I really care. I mean, oh my God, the number of times I've been interviewing people, and it's fascinating, but I'm listening so intensely.
I won't be offended if you don't remember.
Same 4 things. I've written the same thing, 4 things, and then I'm writing in shorthand, fuck up the shorthand once, mistake, oh shit, gone. At work was
I have
the same.
to write everything down, and
I need them to email it to me saying like, this is what I need.
But my team at the moment, so I went from a bad experience, which actually I'm very grateful to them for, because it's made me very vocal, and I think I've helped a lot of other people.
Like 2 people telling you, oh no, I'm not going to work with them. Fucking prejudice.
But it's, but thanks to them, it's changed my life in a lot of good ways. So I'm happy about it. It's taking it into a good thing. But then I joined a team that's absolutely incredible. Yeah. And even I have some really they're all understanding, but then
what's the difference between like what makes someone incredible and what makes it like what's okay, so like because you're like one of the top end, you're a surgeon. I mean, like that's like, it doesn't get much more. Thank you. It doesn't get cooler than that.
Thanks.
Apart from maybe, I don't know, SAS, but we don't know anyone from the SAS.
Yeah, I wouldn't make it. I wouldn't make it in the SAS.
No, I don't think we could.
No, I'd cry.
It's the antithesis of what you do. You're like going to shoot them, but like,
oh wait,
it's like, oh bird. It's like bang. God damn.
Wait, I'm going in the wrong direction. Where's my GPS?
3 shot. Yeah. Which way south? Hang about. Oh. Nope.
The
enemy? Crap.
Make friends. Chat to them about everything. Overshare.
Hello, boys. Anyway, yeah, go on. I won't be able to keep it quiet enough.
Yeah, no, exactly. My team's been great. So it took me a few weeks to open up to them about it. Yeah. And as soon as I did, they were just really encouraging and supportive. And I would explain to them, I'm like, the reason I write down every single thing, even the most basic things, is because I'm so scared of
fucking it.
And forgetting what they've said, because it does that.
Because your brain wants to fill in that gap, and it's just the most logical thing. But I had the same thing. I once wrote an article, in fact, recently. It was an internal thing, so it didn't matter too much, but it was a rewrite. And my general guidance was to make someone from, say, South America sound English-y. Just kind of like condense it so that it was, instead of being 800 words, it was 400. Yeah. But the meaning had to be the same. So I did that, and I thought I was doing that. By the end of it, I checked through the article and I read against, but some of the things that the conclusion I'd come to made no fucking, they made sense. Yeah. But it was a different story to the one that I started with. Yeah. And I'd spent days on it, and it just looked like I'd just been writing shit. Yeah. And I hadn't. I'd been so intensely focused on it that each paragraph had become its own microcosm. Yeah. And then, and it's ironically that it looked lazy, but it wasn't lazy. It was anything but lazy. It was like surgically, no offense. Wait, no pun intended. But I'm not going with that. But it was like really, wait, was that a pun?
I don't know. It was, anyway, I know what you mean though. I get it.
Yeah.
It's, but then, for example, so one of he's taken over as like my supervisor for the year.
Good.
Because
good or bad?
No, really good.
Excellent.
They're all great.
He asked for you.
Yeah, he's lovely. He understands.
Yeah.
And
we have a habit of becoming people's protégés.
Oh no, I don't know, but it's more like he realised, a couple of months back or so, that I was struggling to do my admin in the office because there was a lot of noise and it was very distracting and I couldn't just focus. So then he came back into the room and then was like, "I've prepared my office for you. Why don't you go work there?" And it's those things that I literally went home and just cried from the just how compassionate he was.
Yeah, and that is because it hits you in a way. Yeah, because you're like, people don't do things for you to help you with stuff like that.
He saw that I was struggling. He went to his office, got the computer ready, prepped the room, and then came back to find me and said, "Why don't you go into my office and use it instead?" And it's those kind of things that you so appreciate. It's something that is it's not that it's little, but
it's like, because the thing is, when you get the corporate sort of like, we'll make accommodations for you. In other words, welcome to the retard pile kind of thing. That's how it feels sometimes. But do you need accommodations? And then you kind of feel a bit like out, like you shouldn't say because you don't, but you do, but you don't want to admit you do. And then it's like but then when it goes tits up, it's like, I need you to be And there's that self-stigma as well, because it's like, I can do this. I know I can do this. I'm determined to do this. Yeah. There's nothing more determined than ADHD. I mean, you've proven it yourself. Like, you failed your exam the first time. You fucked it the second time. Not your fault. Third time, you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going again. And and I mean, I said this to my boss before. She was like, she has it as well. Well, she had it. I don't know if she does actually, but I mean, I feel like she did. But that's why I said yes to the job actually. That, and they paid me a lot of money, and it was great. I really miss my Romanians. Anyway, the point is though that I'm going to see them all. Anyway, the point is that I said to her, I was like, she was having a rough time, and I was like, look, ADHD, mate, we don't go down. No, we do not go down, because you get hit enough times and people don't see it, people don't appreciate it.
I wrote something semi-decent on that.
You did?
In our,
I think I probably got it from
Can I bring it up?
Yeah, of course you can.
I said my parents always called me resilient. It was a word they often used, but even before we knew I had ADHD, I had so many knocks getting to where I am in my career, and I know I will have plenty more, yet somehow, thankfully, I keep bouncing back. Occasionally I need a bit of time to lick my wounds, but I get back most times with the support of my parents. But these knockbacks mean resilience, and resilience is something special. Teaches us to pick ourselves up, learn from our mistakes, be more determined, overcome our struggles. And I can thank my ADHD and my parents for that. I believe that ADHD makes us resilient. It isn't a quality everyone possesses, and I think I took that for granted before my diagnosis. I hadn't acknowledged that I had a certain strength only gained from pushing through despite struggling with symptoms of ADHD, and combine that resilience with the wonderful qualities of ADHD that it has to offer: the compassion, the sparkle, the energy, the creativity, the superpowers, in addition to the drive and passion to want to do something like surgery or any other career. Then nothing can stop you. Yeah, and I do think it makes you resilient, because you do have knockbacks. You
have no choice.
And with things like rejection sensitive dysphoria,
fuck yeah,
which I only learned about
myself. It's so hard. In the moment, I went on a date once with this girl, and she wasn't all that. She was like, she was. Well, clearly not. Otherwise, yeah. I went all the way to Windsor to see her. It was like a 3/4 of an hour ride on a motorbike, and then she, to go to a pub that was down her road, literally next to her work. And I was like, could have gone halfway. You know where I'm from. Yeah. So she wasn't necessarily a keeper, but then she just kind of decided halfway through, maybe I wasn't for her, whatever. But she still egged me on to go to a second date. And I was like, all right, well, I'll pay for this lot. I paid like 90 quid or something like that for a meal and whatever, the wine and everything. But the point is that I'm trying to get to is that afterwards, she was like, no, I'm not really feeling the second date. And I was like, all right, well, cool. If you want to send me half the money, then that'd be great. Oh, now you've changed your tune. I'm like, oh, you started it. This is why I'm not really look back at her too fondly. I mean, she was all right. Sorry, mate. He's like, oh, here we go again. Les's love life. But no, the thing is, that one of the things that I realised was that actually at first I felt rejected by it, but it took me a lot less time to get over the idea that maybe this person who I'd been talking to for about 3 weeks, wasn't into me, and just fine, fuck it. Yeah. I mean, the words fuck it do, but I think that before I knew about RSD, I would have kind of taken it so personally about what's wrong with me.
Oh yeah, RSD is a huge thing.
What's terrible about me, and I just thought about it. I was like, well, fuck you, actually.
Have you discussed RSD before? Do we need to explain what RSD is?
I have no idea what that
means.
So
rejection sensitive dysphoria. It's essentially people with ADHD tend to suffer from it, and it's like and it's essentially like a physical pain from either a real or perceived rejection. And it can affect you.
It can be quite traumatic.
Yeah, it can be really traumatic.
It's very difficult. And that's why my ex-girlfriend. Sorry, I don't know if you keep bringing up exes, but the one
that it has a huge
the one who made
impact
a
on
major
relationships
attack against me.
Yeah.
The compassion that I feel for her is because of that, and it was wrong because I wasn't rejecting her. I really didn't. I'd never hurt like that. That was all, and I just needed space for myself to kind of come to terms with what was going on because I had no control over that relationship anymore. And that for me was the hardest part. But I think that her RSD and my RSD conflicted, and we ended up in this horrible situation. And it makes everything worse, though, because especially if you've got two ADHD. This is why ADHD relationships are fantastic, but also fucking horrible breakups. Dear God. Oh, it gets vicious.
It's
like, yeah. Ugh.
It's
I still have to have my revenge. It's still my turn. I know exactly how I heard it.
No.
Yeah, go on.
But RSD it's when I realised there was that link, I tried to change my sort of way of handling it. So even, sometimes I remember she was then one of my colleagues, she's now become one of my best friends. I remember the first time I asked her, have I done anything wrong? Because I'd convinced myself. You always think that it's you that's wrong as well. I'd convinced myself that I'd really messed up that day at work, that I couldn't pinpoint why I thought that. And I remember saying, like, have I messed up? Have I done something wrong? And she turned to me, she's like, Holly, you were like my angel today. You were great. Well, why are you thinking that? And I said, well, I've got these thoughts in my head.
It's hard to
And I said, can I just ask? Because otherwise I will ruminate on this for hours.
And it sounds like you're looking for assurance when actually you're not. You're just asking for someone to say, no, you're fine, mate.
And then I could explain to her, I was like, look, there is this association. So I might occasionally ask. And she was like, please don't even think about it. And interestingly, I had brunch with her the other weekend. And
turns out you're the best one she's ever had or something.
No, she actually became my next door neighbour for a bit. I know. I love her. I love her so much. And she...
Girls' night.
Oh, yes. And she... I was like walking down the stairs ready to go to brunch. And I was like, look, I'm putting it out there. I've been off my medication. And it's like she read my mind and she's like, oh, that's great. She's like, I love you as you are. You bring me so much energy.
Hard to hear
and
well. Like...
and I was like, oh, well, I loved it because I was like, I'm worried about... She literally took the words out of my mouth. She's like, you're not too much.
Oh,
you're not annoying.
Yeah, I get that sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, my girlfriend sometimes says you're being too much, and then we have to have a day away. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. But she just straight away said, you're not too much, you're not annoying. She's like, I love it because you bring me an energy that makes me feel energetic.
Yeah.
She's like, I love you as you are. And
we bring in that buzz, but then sometimes I think a lot of people kind of feel a bit exhausted, but they don't see that we get exhausted as well.
It was nice having a friend who understood.
Exactly.
And she just got it, and I felt so relieved. And I think again, I cried on the phone to my mum, just kind of being like, Rosie got it, and she just made me feel so comfortable in myself.
It's little things like that.
Yeah,
like, that's how I feel with my girlfriend, for example. I never told her for about the first 3 weeks.
Yeah,
until we were in Rye and this goose went overhead, and I was like, "Oh, look, a goose!" And it was such a pigeon moment, and she goes, "What have you got, ADHD or something like that?" And I was like,
about that.
Yeah. Funny story, babe. We're going to have to go for a coffee now, but maybe I should just have a decaf.
Yeah. I can't have caffeinated
The
drinks.
first thing she said when we sat down was, she goes, where do I read more about this?
Yeah.
I nearly cried. I was like, I was looking at her and I was like, I'm going to keep you.
Yeah.
You're a keeper. Straight away, it was just like, what a woman. I was just like, and she bought us coffee, she bought us a couple of little bits and bobs.
She's a keeper.
I
want to meet her. She sounds great.
She's lovely. Yeah, she doesn't get
Keep
it.
her.
She still doesn't get it sometimes. I still get called annoying. But
So when she met you, what was that like then? What is it like for you as well? Also, meeting people, because I know when I met Les.
Oh God, he makes me sound like a racist.
It was very interesting meeting Les.
I can imagine.
It took me about 2 months to actually like Les. I didn't like him in the first couple of months.
I think a lot of it. I think it's worse for men. I'm sorry.
It is.
Saying that, but women are better at masking.
Yeah, no, but also girls are. It's more socially acceptable for you to be affectionate in the way that we are as well.
Because we are
so the
really
girl bounces
affectionate.
up and says, "Hi, how are you?"
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Oh, you're really cute. You're great. Oh yeah, I'm gonna try and fuck you." But blokes, if we do that, we're fucked.
No.
Like we're just like, who's this guy? He's a creepy.
If you're overly
like,
familiar, it's different.
Yeah,
and I'll be honest.
Honestly,
it's only because I lived with him for a year.
We make really good comedians.
Yeah. It's only because I lived with him for a year. I was like, let me get to know him.
Yeah.
If I
got high together for a year, it was great.
Mom.
No one heard that.
Yeah, you didn't hear that. But it's only because I lived with him for a year. I'm like, let me make the effort to get to know him. But there's other people I met that with ADHD that I didn't know about ADHD.
Who else had it?
Like people in school clearly had
it.
When I think back on it now,
ashamed to say that I really struggled with other ADHD people before I knew I had ADHD, and I'd be like, oh my gosh, they're a bit much. And then I was like...
Yeah, I had that with a friend of mine. I was a bit like... the worst part is you can see your own why other people find you. And
I had this guy with ADHD in my phone class. I didn't give him the time of day. I was just like, you're annoying. I'm just gonna ignore you.
Yeah,
and that's what I did. And
I bet he went home every night and thought about it as well.
Yeah. No, I don't think he cared.
Feel bad.
But now when I think back on it, I'm like, maybe I should have given him the time. He might have been a nice person.
And that's
I get that
issue.
a lot. I hear that a lot. I hear a lot of that kind of like. At first, I thought you were a prick, but now actually you're a really, really amazing bloke, or whatever. Yeah. And it's well, they don't say it in those words, but it's kind of the.
And I think there's just such a stigma around ADHD or any neurodivergent diagnosis, and it really frustrates me.
It dehumanizes you. I mean, one of the things that gets me is the fact that I think that sometimes about the drugs and stuff. I mean, I know that it helps us as a tool. I look at it as a tool. So I'll take it when I need to. Yeah. If I know I've got a lot of work on that day, I'll take the drugs. Yeah. But it's the fact that in order to be socially acceptable, I have to take a chemical that is going to make me piss like a racehorse. It's going to dehydrate my body. Yes. It's got, I mean, for example, I haven't put on any weight, even though I shite sometimes, and I can eat whatever I like, which is amazing. But at the same time, it's like, but actually I'm taking something that's potentially damaging my body more than, say, cannabis would. Or, I mean, as much as alcohol might, speaking of alcohol, sneaky.
With a big smile
again.
Get
past me, young man. But he can, but because he's bigger than me.
Yeah, I would mess with him.
Yeah, I mean,
Can't do it.
I have a few times. I tell you what, I was genuinely scared enough to run away from the club.
Yeah, big mistake.
Yeah, and you do not want to get in the way of Marlon, which is why he was my bodyguard at uni. It was really quite cute. You're a good friend. I'd go to the bar and I'd be chatting to people. I think we've told this story before, but just to give it in brief, I go to the bar just to be, I'm like, I'll just chat to anyone who's walking around me.
Yeah.
At the front of the bar, I chat to a girl next to me. The boyfriend looks over, gets aggy, meow. And all of a sudden he's trying to start a fight on me because he thinks I'm trying to chap his girlfriend.
But actually we're just friendly and we just like to chat to everyone.
Faster than he can. And now she's flirting with me and I'm just me, flirting anyway. Probably was flirting, to be honest. And but then all of a sudden Marlon would just I'd be buying a pint for Marlon anyway because we take it in turns. And all of a sudden Marlon would loom over the entire crowd like, is there a problem? And apparently not. All of a sudden, I'm perfectly happy.
I didn't actually say that. I'm like, have you got my pint?
Yeah, and he'd look at the guy, and I'd be like, I'm kind of in the middle of something, Marlon. And and this guy would be like, like the point where they're about to take the top off and really try and be an idiot, but proper monkey. And and then Marlon just stands there. I was like, and when he looks at Marlon, I look at him, and then all of a sudden the other lads will show up, and I look like the little guy in the mafia. Because
the funny thing, I didn't realise any of this was happening. I was just like,
you were just like, I just want my pint.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I didn't even know I was in a fight until the guy took his top off. I was a bit like, no, I was just chatting to her. What's the problem? It was so.
You know what? Yeah, I have a memory, and I'm pretty sure it must be Eddie Hall from that big guy. And I remember there was a
guy out near us. Yeah.
He's a big
built like he's the world's strongest man for 3
years. World's strongest man. He's big
motherfucker.
And then Lev was getting into an issue with him, and I was just like,
yeah.
I was like,
it was my fault.
And we were there, and the guy was looking at us, and I'm like, this guy is big. I'm like, I'm not helping you if he attacks you.
There's me like, Marlon! But no, that was it. He had 55 kg in each hand, and he's doing a bench. And
no, this is in a bar.
Was it a bar?
Yeah, this is
all right.
Because
I remember when he growled at me at the gym. I don't remember the bar bit, probably because I was pissed. But he was at the gym, and he's like 55 in each hand. He goes, what? This guy is literally benching 110 kilograms, and I couldn't help and he sits up. He's like, and I couldn't help myself. I was like, Mazel tov, it's a boy, and he just looked at me and growled, and I was like, time to go. Time to go. But it's that impulsive, I can't help it.
There is an impulsivity, and I do think there's also a difference in the experience of men who have ADHD and women who have ADHD. Like you said, I can chat away to people, and people think of it differently than you.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even today, I was asked to chat away to a patient because the local anaesthetic wasn't doing as great a job as it should have. So I could keep him chatting because I can chat for England,
of course,
and and I can pick up about the different tattoos and ask him to talk about that and about the these little things.
I have so many questions about you.
Exactly.
I'm going to talk about myself for most of it, but still,
I will. But it's then quite a different experience, I think, and there's just so much stigma, and it really upsets me. And I think I've been really lucky because I've been
and a surgeon. I mean, come on.
But also, I've been diagnosed late, so I've not had as much pushback as other people. And people have asked me if they thought I would have wanted to be diagnosed earlier, and I don't know, because
Yeah.
I think if I had been diagnosed as a kid, when I was struggling to get my grades to get into medicine, I might have then said, you know what, I have ADHD, I have dyslexia, it's just not meant for
you
me.
wouldn't have been quite as tenacious about it.
But then again, the other side of it is that maybe having had those diagnoses, I would have had the help I needed earlier.
You'd have had
and maybe
the drugs in there.
and I don't know.
Struggle, yeah.
We grew
I
up,
think the same
we
as
grew
well
up in the
with
90s
Yeah.
as well. We wasn't as sympathetic as things are now.
No,
But-
I mean, I know that, for example, for me, one of my ones was that I was at Keele and I answered the same question, 2 questions from one side of the paper, and I didn't realise it was the second side until the end, until after the exam. I wrote to them. I was like, look, I don't know why that's happened, but I made a mistake, and they wouldn't. And I only got half the grade, even though I'd answered 2 questions perfectly. And I got, it's like 50% because one of them was 100% fantastic.
Yeah.
And they just discounted the second one. But had I known that I'd had ADHD, I'd have been able to say, look, I've got ADHD. This is what's happened. And they probably would have been a lot more sympathetic, and they would have probably changed it and said, yeah, that's fine. But I probably should write to them and ask about that. But but I'll do it tomorrow.
Respectively.
But
But it really frustrates me, the stigma. And I'm working on a project,
hello.
but I'm not going to tell you about it
It's a
now,
yes.
because otherwise I'll get that false dopamine of like when you say that you're doing something and then it's like,
Oh.
yeah. So you have to be careful.
Don't tell people you're going to the gym either.
Yeah, no, exactly. Because then you're like, oh yeah, it's like I've been now,
Yeah.
so I'm great, I'm happy, done. I did
Yeah.
that last weekend.
I lie
did
to my
not
girlfriend
go
about
to
it all
the
the
gym.
time.
Yeah, I didn't go to the gym. But I have a project,
Then just
and
find out.
it's something I'm trying to get off the ground.
Yeah.
And I'm
When in.
hoping it helps with the stigma of
When in. Can I
ADHD
play?
or neurodivergent. You
I'm
can
in.
play.
I'm in. I
You can
want
play. And then if it goes to plan,
Yeah.
maybe you'll allow me back again and I can talk about it.
100% yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, you can. Like one of the coolest
I'm
people we've
wanting
ever had on here.
No, I'm really not.
No, you definitely are.
No, you definitely are. Honestly,
here,
you
like,
would not
playing
believe
with
You haven't
your-
watched our podcast.
You
that's
have
why.
not. No, I mean, like, we are very, very. Yeah, I mean, when it comes to guests, we're
Okay.
not getting any A-listers in just yet.
To be fair, we haven't had that many guests. We're not gonna shit on our guests. We had some great
No,
guests
absolutely
that
Yeah.
we had
Good people.
Dr. Lou, we got Taro, legends. But I mean, we have how many guests? Probably 4 guests in total.
Guests, yeah, maybe.
Well, I
Yeah,
feel
so
very honoured, and
you
I'm
might-
kicking
It's
off third
yeah,
season.
Yeah, so we're not shitting on our guests. We just we haven't had many.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
we don't
you.
know. Yeah, we don't
But,
know.
you know,
Exes and just for fun.
I'm-
Well, we already did.
Yeah.
Love you, Lou.
We love
we love
Dr.
Lou. We
Lou. I love Dr. Lou. Thank
Dr. Lou
you.
is a great person.
Yeah.
She
Oh, yeah.
is.
No, she
I
really
love
is.
Dr.
And to be
Lou.
fair, I don't do.
We've got to stop making it sound like we're being sarcastic. She
No,
won't take
because
it
I
well.
absolutely love Dr. Lou.
I remember Puppygate, that's why. Like, Puppygate.
But
Shout out Dr. Lou.
Yep, go on.
we love. But yes, I am very passionate about changing the stigma and creating more
Yeah.
equal opportunities
It's a bit like...
and support for neurodivergent.
Because it's like what I was saying before, like when I introduced you,
Professionals.
it was like about how the head of psychology today said that you shouldn't exist.
I told that to one of my
What a
colleagues the
twat.
other day, and they couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And because it's impossible for a
different ways
female
to find-
surgeon to
Yeah.
with ADHD and dyslexia to reach this point in their
I mean, I
career.
didn't say that dyslexia to her as well. She was just like, it's impossible. It's like, well, yeah, but you guys don't half write a lot of trash. You know, like, how is this not publishable if I've got her on...
But again, I've
No.
taken from that. That's made me even
I mean, you were definitely
more.
special. There's no doubt about it. But not in a sort of, like cotton wool kind of way. But
Well,
genuinely.
It's made me more determined to try and make a difference, and that's what I see every one of these
Same.
pushbacks.
Yeah.
So
That's
whether
why I
it's my
was
last
about it as
hospital,
well.
exactly, and it makes me more vocal because I think we need to work on that stigma. We need to create better support for
Yeah.
people with neurodivergent
How would
diagnoses.
you want to be supported? What's the best way to support you? Because I mean, like, because you're. I mean, I can talk about my experience, but I'm sure there'll be things that we have in parallel. But sorry, is it parallel the right word? It doesn't matter. But I mean, so what would you say were like? Because I mean, for me, I would say that just having someone occasionally be like, "This was great, mate. You did amazing." Because you can't tell yourself that. That's the weird thing, and most people can kind of regulate that. But for me, one of the things that my girlfriend found when I knew that I was going to get made redundant, I knew something was going on, and she didn't quite clock that actually I did need someone just to tell me that you're a good guy, you got this, and I believe in you. And when she did that, I was like, oh Jesus, it was like a weight off your shoulders. Because I know that she dumped her ex because he'd lost his job, but it was a very different circumstance.
But that still plays on your mind. Because,
But absolutely, it drove me crazy. I couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
I was like, I've lost my job and I'm going to lose my girlfriend now. I'd said that as I was made redundant, and my boss was like, ooh. Well, ex-boss at that point.
Well-
Jesus, I was furious. I gave her the whole 9 yards. But anyway, go on.
I interestingly, again, before I had my diagnosis, I'd gotten into the habit of telling because we rotate around all the time, of telling my seniors that actually I'm the sort of person who works better in a supportive and an encouraging environment.
Yeah.
And, surgery isn't always like that.
Competitive is good, but of course it's not. It's the most competitive industry there is.
And
it's not an industry, is it?
And I've been more vocal about that since having my diagnosis, because I'm like, actually, there is a reason for it, and that's the way I work best. And
can't believe two of them said no. What pricks! You should name them.
It's all right, because you know what? They've done me a huge favour.
Cunts. Sorry, I can't believe that. I mean, to be fair though, I'm sure that because whenever I've been filling out these job applications, I've stopped putting ADHD or anything.
And it's really hard, and it's a shame.
Yeah, because
actually
you're up to
ADHD
someone else's ignorance.
Yeah,
and
it is ignorant,
Absolutely ridiculous.
Actually, ADHD has so many great qualities.
Oh my god, yes! Like in a crisis.
Who do you go to? ADHD.
Yeah,
and they think outside of the box.
I mean, I get bored if it's too quiet. I can't handle it. That's when I start creating. That's when I'm like panicking. Everyone's losing their heads. Thump. Here's what you do, boys and girls. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Doop.
Yeah.
All of a sudden the alarm stopped going off. You're welcome. All right, go back to bed.
And ADHD, they tend to be more observant about the little things. And
yeah, absolutely.
There are so many great qualities. Hyperfocus. Yeah, people can get distracted, but if we hyperfocus.
Oh my god, I was editing a piece the other day. 7 hours.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend was sitting. We were working together, and she was just like, 7 hours. You haven't even looked up. I didn't even realise it was 4 p.m. I hadn't eaten anything all day.
Yeah. You don't pee, you don't eat, you don't drink.
Yep.
Anything.
No.
But I remember
Lou used to make me dinner, and it would go cold next to me, and she'd come back from a 12-hour shift, and it would still be sitting there cold.
Yeah.
And not because I was ignoring it, but because I was just so focused, I didn't even reach
And I remember there was one day, because I'm not the best at sort of academic, like in terms of writing papers and doing audits and things like that, or research. Well. And I remember there was one day I came in, and I just told one of my consultants who I was meant to be just sitting in clinic, and I was like, I'm in the kind of mood that I can hyper focus.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I go and do this work? He's like,
absolutely.
go for it. Like, make the most of it.
Really?
And it's again,
it's amazing.
It's being in that environment.
I wish I had someone like that.
Honestly, my team.
Yeah.
They're family.
That's amazing. Oh, come on, don't be that cliche.
No. Yeah, genuinely, they all support me immensely, and it's been insane going from such a sort of hostile environment for a neurodivergent person to such a warm and welcoming and supportive and encouraging place. And I feel really lucky where I am. It's why I'm now over 2 years there.
Yeah, of course.
Because they've been great, and it's made a huge difference. And it's just interesting how your experience can be so different to other people's experiences just based on the people around you.
Yeah.
And I have my moments where sometimes I'll be like, guys, I'm having a day where I'm really distractible, and I'm really sorry. I don't want this myself, but they understand it.
Yeah.
Or
you're just trying to get
when I was going through a difficult time back in March.
Stress.
I didn't sleep. I was having full on insomnia because you have the racing thoughts all the time.
When I got arrested, I was 6 weeks. I slept for an hour in 6 weeks, and I went into the interview with the cops, and I was like, I have genuinely not slept for 6 weeks, and that's a form of torture that the SES deploy to get confessions out of people who they're trying to get. I mean, legitimately speaking, that's one of that's enhanced interrogation techniques is sleep deprivation, and if you haven't slept for 6 weeks, how the fuck are you supposed to function? Exactly.
And I remember one of my consultants, I was just like, she said, what are you on this morning? I said admin. She's like, why don't you go back? My boyfriend lives 10 minutes away. Go back, have a nap.
Yeah.
And come back later, and just having people who understand.
Yeah.
And who don't even understand.
Yeah.
But they try to.
They get it. Yeah.
They try to.
I don't like the cotton wool types though.
What's the cotton wool type?
Well, where it's like, oh, you have ADHD. I've read like half an article on this. Oh no, don't worry, it's going to be okay. And they kind of
thankfully I haven't had this.
You, and you're kind of but you still want to be there. You want to get the job done, but it can be a distraction if people are a little bit too much. All you need is for them to kind of there's a difference between understanding and there's overemphasizing, because it makes you feel a little bit special, also, but in the sad special
it's people
way.
Who understand that we're not great at being told what to do, but we're best at being held accountable.
Yes.
And so
that's a really good way
the consultant who got his office ready for me, who's taken over my supervision.
What's that?
We
might as well name him, because I don't think he's going to sue us for that one.
Hi, Max.
Max, you sexy bastard.
Max is wonderful.
Sexy Max. Okay, we love Max.
He's been supporting me in writing my first paper, as first author. And I struggle with that because
it's tough.
Because I know I need a set time to just sit and do it because I can't do it in little bits.
Yeah,
and
the
then
deadline thing.
Yeah, deadline thing. And I would hate to let him down more than anything else.
That's exactly why.
Because he's so good to me.
Yes.
And so for me, the main driver was then I don't want to let Max down. I want to do this, but I know I struggle. But actually,
that's why I was upset when I got made redundant because I felt like I'd let my boss down, even though I was doing everything I could. And I was like, why can't you see what I'm doing? But
he also knows that, and we were discussing it because now it's in his like. We were discussing about him. He's like, was I doing the right thing in terms of the gentle nudge, but not too much? That it's a chore. And having
fucking love Max.
Max is wonderful.
What's his last name? Go on.
No.
Oh, come on.
No. But
Max, you know who you are. You know you are loved.
He is.
You know you are loved. I'm watching Bodies.
And they're all great. They're all great. But then having someone who just takes your side and like says, "Was this the right thing?" And you just become so appreciative of that.
Yeah. And it's such a difficult thing to do is to ask that as well. Because I remember when I was working, I was like, look, I just need to know what you want from me.
Yeah.
And they weren't sure, and that led to me getting so stressed out, and I didn't know if I was doing anything right. And you give them everything you can. You know, it's like a shotgun when you actually want a sniper rifle, and you're just like, I just need a target. Give me a target. Tell me I'm going in the right direction. Just double check the fact that I've got this right, so to speak, using the metaphor. But double check my sights to make sure that I've got them right.
Exactly.
And that's all I need. And then I will absolutely hit the target every single time. You know, I will be the best sniper you've ever had, kind of thing.
So having supportive people, and it's hard, I think, in any profession to discuss your ADHD, autism, OCD, anything like that.
It's a different type of brain.
And because it's not a physical thing that people can see and make sort of allowances for in a way. A lot of people don't understand that there is a huge stigma. I can't personally speak for the other neurodivergent diagnoses, and I think it probably wouldn't be right for me to because I don't have that experience.
Yeah, but I deal with I work with autistic kids a lot. And I mean, one of my kids, we call him. I mean, I don't know if I should name him, but but he's my little. I mean, he's my little project. I love that kid. You know, he's 8 years old and doesn't do a damn thing I say. Yeah. But I tell you what, I teach him how to swim, and he just did butterfly once. I got really pissed off with him. And like, well, come on, he's a dick. No, you're
gonna be nice to 8-year-olds.
No, I mean, I am, but I mean, sometimes you want to kick their ass. I mean, you want to throttle them sometimes, and that comes from a place of love, though, because you want
the best for them.
If you don't love the person, you don't say stuff like that, and but if you do love them to bits, and I do, I mean, I call him Project in front of his dad, and his dad laughs, so I get away with it. And but his dad's a good guy as well. But anyway, the point is that this particular individual. I was like, oh, screw this. And I just blew off some steam by I stormed up and down the pool doing butterfly, because that's the hardest one. It really does your shoulders. Yeah. And and
Love that you're using this to give off your.
Did I mention shoulders? Sitting next to Marlon, he's got arms like rabbits. Look at the fucking size of this. Honestly, God, you can't.
I've totally.
Yeah. Come on, Holly.
Letting the team down. Sorry.
Tries.
To be fair, I don't actually go to the gym that much. It's just...
Oh fuck. And I don't go to the gym. Oh this. Oh yeah. No, it's just natural.
Yeah, good on you.
I did go 3 times this week, but I'm in.
For me, it's just pure sex. Yeah. That's what I use. Just sex. Read the room.
What were we saying?
I can't remember. Oh yeah, Zach.
You're swimming.
Yeah. So I did butterfly up and down, and I cut back to him after about 12 seconds. I was fucking furious. And he goes, "Can I try that?" I'm like, "Be about fucking time if you did." And he just jumped in straight up. Yeah. He'd never done it before. Me and his dad were in tears. I'm just sitting there looking at him and his dad's like from the sides, and he's like, I did it 3 different ways. Do you want number 1, number 2? I was like, Dad, just do it again. Just if you can do it again, just do it again. This kid had done nothing that I had said to do the entire lesson. That's usually the format.
To interject quickly,
please do.
Is swimming a common thing for autistic kids? Because when I was training for a marathon in September, so I was going swimming once a week, and then when I'm swimming, I see autistic kids going swimming. So I just wanted to know if that a common thing.
I mean,
to go off point.
I think but I mean they do generally. I mean, there's a lot of kids. I mean, it does help. I think. I don't know. I just know that I've been given all the ones who are the difficult ones to teach. Right. But I know that my little girl Melly, she loves it. I could probably name her. Actually, I get away with that one. She's absolutely lovely. She's 5 years old. She's about this big. She is
my height.
Yeah, almost as tall as you. I should get there. But like she is. I mean, she said she has a few meltdowns and that, but it was like she's never happier unless she's. I mean, she's a little submarine, and but she's better at swimming than most of the other kids. I mean, she doesn't do the strokes so much, but confidence. Holy shit! I threw her in the deep end. Perfectly happy.
Yeah.
A kid her age, a neurotypical kid her age, 5 years old. If I'd thrown a sister in there, she would have shat dicks. It would have been a drowning. I'd have been fired. Whatever. I mean, they can't fire me now because good luck trying to handle my kids. I'm a specialist for a reason. I've developed the relationship now. They're screwed. I'm unfireable. 2 weeks later, I got fired. Why? Because they're fucking
come back to this podcast.
No, I've been written up about 14 times to the point whereby I start laughing. It's like, you broke a rule. I'm like, yep, I know. And they're like, well, what do you have to say for yourself? And I'm like, go fuck yourself. I was like, if you're going to fire me, you'd have done it by now. So, sure, what do you want me to sign? It's just to make sure we've had a record of the conversation.
Yeah.
Okay, record away.
Just
Sorry, I got off topic.
Just swing back on topic.
Tipsy.
Do you struggle at your job with your ADHD? Do you find
what's
yourself in
the hardest
issues because of your ADHD?
I should have written these questions.
It's interesting because you did write some of these questions before, and to be like 3 years ago.
Same sort of things, yeah. We can use both, by the way.
Yeah.
Is that all right with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, cool. I've got to dig it up, but go on.
Yeah, it's interestingly, like looking back, before my diagnosis, I would zone out in long handovers or long ward rounds, but my team would just be like, oh, Holly, if there's something I need to do, and I'd just but this is pre-diagnosis, they just knew that I'd occasionally zone out. But I used to really love the on-calls because they were fast-paced, they were busy, they'd keep you interested.
Yeah, pace.
Yes, now it's, I struggle on teaching days. I struggle when to progress in your career, you're having to be doing audits, writing papers, whereas actually I just want to be spending my time doing my job and learning that way. Yeah, and I'm not the best at, unless I find something I'm really interested in. For example, this project I want to get off, but I don't have time to do that. I know, I'm so sorry, but I don't have much time.
Contact me. It's going to be so annoying.
No, I will remember to contact you. But I don't have the time because I'm trying to write papers for my job that are like compulsory essentially to progress, and that's where I struggle a bit.
Yeah.
And I struggle with sleep.
Same.
And
I was up at 4 a.m. this morning until about 5.
Yeah.
And I'm staying awake. Just message me when you can't sleep, because honestly, it drives my girlfriend nuts.
I think I did the other day.
Yeah, you should have done. I saw that, replied to it, or and then went back to sleep again. But
yeah, I think I went to sleep.
I woke up at 10 a.m. this morning. I'm still tired. It's ridiculous.
And because you just can't turn your brain off.
Yeah.
Your body's it's the whole wired but tired.
Yeah, because your body's exhausted,
yeah,
your brain's
and
not.
You want to sleep,
or the other way around.
But it just keeps on going, and you can't turn it off.
That's interesting. So
it doesn't stop.
So with me, I'm not like that because obviously I don't have ADHD. But
boo. But he's weird in this
You need to join the cool club.
Now you know how we feel.
But certain things do give me that. For example, doing creative projects like editing. Yeah. I love editing.
Yeah.
So when I'll wake up at 6 a.m. and be like, I need to get up and edit.
Yeah.
Edit a video.
Yeah, I will get up at 6 a.m. thinking that, and then I won't get up until 10.
Yeah. I wake up in the night to go toilet, maybe 4 a.m. I'm like, oh, I need to do this, do that.
Yeah.
So I can imagine
having
how you feel all the
lie
time.
Awake until 5.
Yeah.
And then until we pass out. I usually,
when
I'm trying to fall asleep, I'll pass out.
I'm glad I don't have that all the time. It's only certain
really
times
hard.
where I get that.
And it makes us look lazy, even though, for example, we're not. I mean,
and then you're just exhausted. And they're like, but ADHD, aren't you meant to be hyperactive? You're like, my brain is very hyperactive.
Yeah, but it's not firing in any direction.
But you want it to rest sometimes, don't you?
Oh my gosh, yes.
You know
what I found quite helpful?
My
weighted blanket.
I've heard about this.
Oh my gosh, I was really skeptical.
Break that down.
So,
a weighted blanket.
Because I was doing a lot of research about ADHD. Still like to do it because learning more about myself and everything else. And then
you learn how
this is it. And also, it's really nice.
So finding out you got a different computer.
Yeah, and it's nice, realizing that other people have the same.
It's so cool.
Issues.
Yeah. I got done for my BPD one though. Anyway, go on.
And then I saw a lot of things saying that weighted blankets were really helpful, and I was so skeptical. And then, oh my gosh, it's amazing.
Is it?
Oh, it helps me sleep.
Because I know that when you were nervous before, I gave you a hug.
Yeah,
and then it was like,
yeah. And it's a mixture of
things.
The
best hugs, by the way.
Yes, they do.
You're welcome.
I might be biased, but
well,
but it kind of works in a couple of ways because it's like a hug, but it also helps stop you do all of your fidgeting.
Yeah, kind of.
Because it's weighted on you.
Yeah.
So you're kind of like, oh, I'm just going to stay still.
I'm stuck. I'm smushed.
Yeah, and then it is like a hug. It's very comforting.
I have this ADHD ex who like to be tied up. It's quite like being tied up, and I think that's part of it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
sorry.
Yeah. Kink.
Yeah, she was. And you know what? We'll put her on blast later.
Yay!
Because she shouldn't have fucked with me. Sorry, too angry. Go.
That helps. Not all the time, but it does help. I occasionally forget that I have it.
Yeah.
Because, you know,
well,
ADHD
I think
brain.
it's nice when you do. And I think that for me, like, when I met my girlfriend, it was... that was one of the things, because I used to go on these dates and it would come up immediately. I felt like I needed to explain myself.
Yeah.
And when I met her, I didn't. And it didn't even occur to me to bring it up. And I remember telling my best mate, I was like, she doesn't know, but not because I don't care to tell her, not because I'm trying to keep her in the dark, but because it's never been a thing that I needed to tell her.
Yeah.
Because she understands, you know, and that's what I really liked about it, was that she just seemed to like me for who I was. Yeah. And that's all that mattered. And she said, I mean, she wrote me a letter recently, and she was like, I love all these things about you.
Letter.
Yeah, I know, right? Letters are the best.
Oh, that's really cute.
I bought a safe especially to keep it in. Yeah, I was like,
I'm a sucker for romance.
It's by my bedside, and for the first 2 days, I just carried it with me, like along with my phone, and you know, like, and I was just carrying it from room to room.
That's very
and like,
cute.
I was like, yeah, I mean, I'm quite sentimental.
Yeah, which we tend to be quite emotional.
And like, she missed a full stop, but other than that, I mean, you know, like, I'm really not complaining. Good God, we've been at this for a while. But yeah,
I mean, I was expecting that we would be at this for a long time because
we generally do.
Yeah, and then you put two ADHD people in a room together,
fun.
and it's like
yeah, but the chat is good because it's like, it's such a relief as well. It's like last time I remember you actually end up with a tear in your eye or two.
Oh, I'm sure I did.
I felt pretty upset. Yeah, not upset, but as in, like, you know, it was quite nice to be seen for once.
Yeah,
and it's so hard because it's like, if we're 1 in 100 people, statistically we are 1 in 100. Women get underdiagnosed but they are very good at masking. My one of the other women that I knew who's got ADHD, no one at work knew about her, and I did, because I could. You can
tell. You can pick things up.
You can see it, and with me, it's very obvious because I'm combined type. Whereas I think you said you were inattentive.
Oh no, I'm combined.
You're combined as well.
Have you not seen me bouncing?
Go. Yeah,
exactly. I'm combined.
I really love it. I love it because it's like you're bouncing along next to me, and the supermarket thing as well. Holy shit.
Oh yeah,
I have the same anxiety in supermarkets.
But it's not even that. I just get distracted.
Yeah, I was
and
like,
I can't.
I knew that would happen, so I was like, all right. And
come on.
And as soon as you were like, I don't like supermarkets, by the way. I was like, hand. And I was like,
thank you.
In my mind, that's what I need as well.
Exactly.
And my girlfriend, people don't get it because it's like, it's not that I can't cope. I can cope, but I go around Lidl's with the gritted teeth.
Yeah.
Not because of the prices, but it's all the other shit.
It's everything, and
you're doing all the mental arithmetic, and you can see your fridge, you visualize your fridge.
I will stand in the same place for about 5 minutes, and I wish you could see the CCTV because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm slightly overwhelmed here.
You're like olives.
Yes.
I'm sitting there like, why am I looking?
And then I will forget the olives. And
oh.
it's very cute because my boyfriend. So now I go with lists because we love lists.
Same. Yep, love lists.
And my boyfriend
will. I
will.
use my Alexa for it. So I'm in the fridge. Yeah.
So that's good.
I'm like, Alexa, get me like spicy hot sauce. And I end up with like, what the fuck is hot sausage? You know, but whatever.
That'll be fun. But he's very good as well. Like, if he knows that I've been a little while, he'll be like, are you okay? And like, he'll text me to make sure I've not just like zoned out in the middle of the
lovely.
It's very cute.
If he's like, you know, like if he's at work and stuff. I mean, it's impossible to get on a search at work.
He is very
Although, to
sweet
be fair,
like that.
Southampton didn't have a very good signal.
Oh, neither does my hospital.
No, it's because of the metals, I reckon.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. Yeah.
And it's nice having a partner who hasn't experienced ADHD themselves, but they have made every effort to understand.
And it's the little things that they do, like, you know, I read this article about it, or you know, like, I just want you to know that, you know, like, and I mean, sometimes I think, you know, Elena, she said something like, you know, like the other day she was like, I know that it's annoying. In that letter she wrote, you know, I know that, you know, like, that sometimes I snap at you and stuff, and I'm really sorry for that, but sometimes it is annoying. And fair play, it's annoying. I get it. If I was sitting there with someone and I'm trying to fall asleep, she's had a long day at
nighttime.
Work, and nighttime. As soon as the sun goes down, fuck yeah, I'm awake.
Oh, exactly.
I'm like a bat. And ironically, she says she's a vampire. She's Romanian. I mean, that was her joke, not mine. Her joke, not mine.
I really want to meet her.
She's amazing. She'd like you. She'd
question,
like you a lot. Like,
what does she think? What did she think about you when she met you?
She probably wouldn't like you because we get on really well.
Oh no!
I'm joking.
What did she think about you when she met you? Because she didn't know that you had ADHD when she met you.
Ironically, she's somebody who is so calm and she likes things in order. Her place is immaculate. We call it the nest. Mine's the cave. Her place is the nest.
Oh, see, mine's immaculate.
Oh yeah, yours is immaculate.
Yeah.
Your boyfriend's or yours?
Mine.
Yours.
It has to
Mine's a smidge messy, but I know where everything is. If you were to ask like where a steak
it's like coordinated chaos.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, mine has had to be because
it's got a place, but it's a chaotic place.
Yeah, you know where everything is.
Yeah,
organised mess. That's it. Yes, organised mess. That growing up, that's what it was like. I had to change my ways when I went to university and realised the whole house was a mess, and I needed a place that was tidy so that I could work. So it had to be my bedroom.
Yeah, go on.
And then it's just kind of gone from that my place has to be immaculate.
For me, it's like everything has to have a certain area rather than a place. So, for example, like when I was little, I used to play Lego, and this is where I think I should have been diagnosed because there'd be Lego bits all over the floor, but I'd have this little fantasy world, and I'd be like, I would come up with all these stories, and to be fair, there were a couple of them were pretty kinky. But sorry, I don't mean to keep making. I don't want to drag the mood, but like just kinky toddler, and but all these different things, and I'd have the little king. Obviously, it was me, and he'd rule over things. He'd have a little submarine and stuff like that. But my parents would come in, they'd see my parents come in and they'd just see this huge mess of Lego, and if they tidied it up, I went batshit because they've just destroyed my entire fantasy world.
One of my juniors who. Admitted to me that she had ADHD, which was really nice.
That's such a sweet moment as well because you just jump up and hug them.
Yeah. And she, but actually, I think it was more because she said she was like, I was really struggling because I was going from like one thing to the other, and she's like, I have ADHD, and I was like, cool, I do too, and she was really happy to hear that someone else had.
Mate, I bet she cried as well.
And
a lot of tears going on in your world.
Oh my gosh, I love a good cry. But she gave me she was so sweet. She then came in that next week with something for me to fidget with. And she was like, I have one of these and I really like it. I know. And how wonderful is that? Kid. And it's just having this support with each other, and I just wish there was more of that. Opening that dialogue about neurodivergence.
And for anybody listening, Holly's fidgeting with a watch right now. So does that help? Do you use like a fidget spinner or something to fidget with to help you with your ADHD? Is that something that normally helps, or?
You know what? It's interesting. So usually my tell when I haven't taken medication is that I fidget a lot.
Yeah.
When I've taken my medication, I am a lot better.
My desk just looks like a bunch of toys.
I used to scribble, or what I used to do actually is as a kid, and it's only since my diagnosis I realised what I was doing. It's like stimming, isn't it?
Yeah.
I used to start playing the piano like on any surface, whatever it was in my head. I'd be like start playing a tune, and that would just help keep me. Pardon?
What's your favourite thing to play?
Oh, you know what? I never remember the names of the pieces.
I have the same thing with people. It's like I don't remember the name. I don't remember the name. Face, absolutely, never forget you. I know you've got 3 kids. I know their ages. I know everything about you.
But not their name.
Fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely screwed.
Yeah, exactly. And so I still do that sometimes, or. When I was struggling in teaching the other day, my leg was just going mad, and that's when my colleagues noticed something was wrong. And actually one of them took me aside. She's like, "Are you okay? You seem really anxious." And I said, "Well, I'm struggling with my concentration. This is helpful."
The sort of fire that kind of like behind your eye, you just want to scream kind of thing. It's like
I get frustrated with myself. I think I get upset with myself, and then I have to remember it's just the way my brain is wired, and I need to be kind, because otherwise if I'm not kind to myself, I'm going to spend hours being angry at myself, and that's not going to get me anywhere. But it's really hard to get yourself back into that state of mind. So I did have a bit of a cry on my parents over the phone on Friday last week, but it's okay, because actually it was a good reminder to me that I do sometimes need a bit of help, and that's all right. And but equally I'm also enjoying being off medication because I'm my bouncy self again.
And it's nice to have that, because it's like, I like the fact that you still at the back. I mean, like when we were in the supermarket earlier,
I was bouncing.
You just bounced next to me, and I was like, come here. It's like, and when you get it, it's just like, it's so nice, because it's nice to see someone else have the same reaction, because I haven't actually been to, I mean, that was the first time, I think, for as long as I can remember, I've been to the supermarket with someone who has ADHD as well.
Yeah, I've never done it actually.
People don't.
Someone has it.
Other people don't get it. Like, it's just like, and the number. I mean, I was in Lidl's the other day, and because I like to shop expensive. And
Little's good.
Well, yeah, exactly. It's like, just go around Tesco. It's like, I could get that for a quid cheap.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I know the prices.
Yeah.
It's so bad, but also so weird. But anyway, the point is, like, I'm not obsessed or anything. But yeah, I mean, like, we love Lidl, and like,
I will look up the prices of different things in different supermarkets before I go, and then make my trip.
Sure. Yeah. If I'm in Sainsbury's, I'll know that I can get bacon at £2 cheaper.
Yeah, exactly.
Lidl. So I won't buy the bacon there, and I'll go for a whole week without bacon before I realise, shit, I should go to the other place.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you're not going to go to the other place anyway, but you still try.
Yeah.
But it's just like, and I find myself gritting my teeth and stuff like that, and actually all I want in the back of my head is just someone to hold my hand.
Yeah.
So that's what I did it to you, because you were just like, because you were like, oh, I don't like to do my
and I did get
I know
very
exactly
distracted by
how to solve this straight away.
And I need that. And again, it's so nice finding a partner who is understanding of that. So my boyfriend will just be like, so when we go together, he'll be like, you're distractible today, aren't you? Come on. And literally just grab my hand too. I'm like, thanks. And then it becomes an enjoyable experience, because you're basically being taken on a tour in one of your favourite places, because I love food.
Yeah, same.
But rather than getting overwhelmed, you're just like, oh, that's nice food there.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just that little thing with the hug, and you're just like, and it's hard for other people to understand that, because you're bouncing, that's the last thing that, people are like, all right, well, they just need some physical space or what, I don't know.
No, I need a hug.
But you're just like, no, I need a hug. Yeah.
And again,
when I was working from home, I'd work from home a lot, and I was like, if I was, and I was a bit.
So just to interject quickly, so do you find it difficult when you're not in a relationship to have that connection? Because you said you need a hug.
Horrible.
So like, obviously, getting a hug outside of a relationship, do you both find that difficult?
I come from a Mediterranean family where we are very affectionate.
Yeah.
Right.
So when I see my parents, it's lots of affection, and my colleagues all know that I love affection. Yeah. So I walk into work and I get a hug from my it's very different.
That's
exactly.
very different. That's received very different.
I agree with that. I agree like with you giving strangers or friends affection.
It's very different.
Yeah.
But you as a female, it might be different. You hugging somebody.
Very different.
Nobody's gonna have a problem with that.
So as a bloke, it's like, for example, I was sitting there in a female, especially in female-led environments in which I am the only bloke sometimes, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I just need a hug.
Yeah.
And like, but if I say that, it looks like I'm hitting on them or something like that, because I'm generally a little bit flirty anyway, because I'm funny, and
And a lot of ADHD people are very naturally flirty.
Yeah, and that's because I don't know why, but it's because you're kind of different, and people like that. You say
because you're talkative, you're open, you overshare,
Yeah, and like that's very difficult from a masculine. And this is what I struggled with last year. I had to do a lot of thinking about this. Was about masculinity versus and I'd lived with girls, and I felt terribly insecure after that, because it was like they were good people, but there were times when it was just like, just give me some fucking credit for stuff that I do, Jesus. And then you end up with but one of the things that I realised was when I was working at a school for about a month, and I was talking to my boss, and I was like, Jesus, I need a hug, because it was absolute chaos, and the whole place was about to fall apart. She said, I'm Greek, we love hugs. Yeah, and she just gave me a hug, and I was like, I needed that. Yeah. And then like 2 days later, I was chatting to we'd be talking all night with my the other boss, who actually had ADHD. He was quite a young lad, and like as we were talking about earlier, like when chaos reigns, we that's when we come in and we take care of business. It's our time to shine. Yeah. So we were there till 4 a.m. working on shit. I held the school together as well, because my boss needed the help. She was about to leave. She was in tears, and I was like, all right, I'll take care of this. So I took care of it. So did Rohit. And we were talking about it in front of this Spanish girl, and she just kind of came up to me the next day and just gave me a hug and goes, you're a good person, right? And I hadn't heard that for a year and a half. I'd just been told that I was a piece, that I needed to try better, try harder, do this. You know what you're doing wrong here. You know you're doing wrong there. Yeah. That you screwed up there because people don't like it when you do that. And actually, it was a lot of self-loathing coming from someone else that they're projecting onto me. And I learned that a little while later, that actually this wasn't wrong behaviour coming from the other person. But the point isn't that. It's not about slagging off my former friend, but it's more about the fact that it was like, all I really needed to hear for a year was a stranger who came up to me and just said that. Yeah. And it stuck with me for years.
It's amazing how it can.
It's incredible how it's what we're saying. It's the little things. Yeah. And it's like you do your best with what you got. But then I was single for a year, and I mean, I did okay. I wasn't like completely lonely or anything like that. But I took it aside for myself to kind of get to grips with myself in the aftermath of everything that had happened, in which I'd been through the worst period of my life.
I'm so sorry.
Oh, shit happens. It's not your fault. But it was. It's one of those. It is the little things like you're saying. Yeah. Like, it matters.
It does.
So what do you think it was that made you successful? What enabled you to keep going with your ADHD? Obviously, you didn't know growing up, but you struggled. You said you failed exams.
Oh yeah.
You said you had to. It wasn't an easy road for you to get to where you got to. So, what do you think made you keep going? And what keeps you going?
It's really hard because you're constantly surrounded by people who are very highly functioning.
Yeah.
And there's a hierarchy, and I'm lucky that I'm in a team that you don't feel like there's that hierarchy per se.
You know where you stand, right?
Yeah.
I think it's equally important to know where you stand within the framework, but there needs to be a framework, not a hierarchy, so to speak. Cool.
And I think I've just been very lucky with my parents, to be honest. I think surrounding yourself with people who, they don't have your lived experience, but they try to understand and who are compassionate. I think, I don't always achieve my goals. Just this week, just this week I got told I didn't get an interview for a course I wanted to join, but then my boyfriend sent me the most lovely message, just being like, I love the fact that you push yourself out there knowing that you might not get things, and actually, like, I love that more about you than if you were getting everything, because you know that well. And just having someone like that, I think it's just the people you surround yourself with, and having friends,
keep going, and if someone can recognise the struggle that you go through, sometimes it's just as validating.
So have you found it difficult with relationships and friends with ADHD in your life?
Massively.
Yeah.
Massively.
It's
so
hard.
It's really hard. I constantly feel like such a bad friend because I know that I struggle with getting into contact with people, and it's a double. It's like it's a number of things. I know that if I'm going through a difficult time, if it's even not ADHD related but anything, I always feel like I'm overwhelmed, and I don't want to tell my friends because I feel like I'll put the overwhelm on them. But then I go quiet, which is stupid because actually I know that if my friends were going through something, I'd want to be there for them. And then you go quiet, and then they think you've just like forgotten them. But really, all I want to do is talk to them. But and then it will be ages. People need to reach out
sometimes, do they? Like, and when they do, it needs a few goes. And they need to push you, which is not really conventionally polite. But actually, if someone rings on the doorbell, it's like, oi, dickhead, come on.
Exactly.
And that's what you really want. That's what you need. But if you did that to a neurotypical, fuck it hell.
I guess there's a spectrum to how people with ADHD deal with certain situations. I guess like the way I guess your shortfalls is not communicating them as much with your friends as you say, but that might not be the same for everybody with ADHD.
No, exactly.
I don't know what Les, what would you say is your biggest weakness in terms of dealing with your ADHD?
Fuck no. I think that sometimes that's a tough one. Because and I'm not thinking that I have so many weaknesses, and it's not me being arrogant about it either, because I know the thing is that if I recognise something that I need to work on, I do, but you do it quietly. I think it's communicating the progress to yourself as well as to others, and also kind of appreciating the fact that you do have a disadvantage, but you don't want to admit that to yourself either, because because you're so tenacious and you've been brought up, and you're good, and you will defeat it. And there's absolutely nothing that will get in the way of that kind of rock solid determination. But for me, sometimes it is to me it's actually the reactions of other people. That's the problem. And it's that like everyone sort of thinks they get it, but then when it actually really does get in the way of work and stuff, like in particular being professional in an environment, it's all fun and games to be the funny guy, but actually I am also a very competent person, but I don't see that necessarily myself, and I think it's being hard on yourself, and also being hard on because I think it's finding that positivity and giving it to yourself, because I know that it's particularly in stressful situations when the world is coming down on you, and like for example when I lost my job, when I got made redundant, I was like, fuck, here we go again. And I knew the cycle, and it was this for me, the difficult part of getting up after that was understanding the cycle, but I did it different this time. I gave myself 2 weeks to just get wasted, and I enjoyed those 2 weeks. I'm not gonna lie, I spent 2 weeks shit-faced. Fuck them. I don't care. I've got redundancy pay. Whatever. But it was the emotional reaction. And it's trying to figure out what other people are saying behind your back, and it's the anxiety that comes with it. It's the frustration of like am I doing this right? And that's the kind of thing. And because you're used to being told that you're doing it wrong.
But that's also where RSD comes in.
Yeah, and it's hard because you do.
Do you ever
best.
find that have like being fired and going through that process have had like a negative impact
Massively.
on you? Do you have like, I guess, was it post-traumatic stress?
PTSD.
PTSD. Do you feel that you have that?
Sort
Because
of.
I've been fired as well, and I feel that I have that.
You probably did have a complex PTSD. I mean, like, it sounds like we're not. Everyone thinks.
And I don't have ADHD for the record, but I mean, I've been through
still
that.
Have it. Like,
I've gone through like minor situations at work, and I go back to that moment, going through that really negative situation.
When I had feedback from one of my last ones, and it looked very similar to something that I'd had before, I was so upset.
Yeah, me too.
And I don't know how. That's the other thing is I don't know how to take that kind of criticism because it's not just that. It's about you because I see the pattern that's gone in the past, and this person's just like, look. All my boss wanted was for me to just straighten up a few sentences, and they couldn't figure it out. If they can't figure it out, I can't figure it out. All I know is that people are upset with me, and I should be able to do this, and I don't understand why they're upset. Yeah. Why can't I, why am I not doing what I'm supposed to be able to do, even though I'm perfectly capable of it? What the fuck is going on, really? And then it's the disconnect between reality and, what you perceive, and then also what they perceive. And the reality is in the middle, and you feel like you kind of like, there's that kind of feeling of like, dodge it, I've got to dodge it. Or like the worst one was like, here we go again. And that was that feeling. And I've kept the letter that I got when they justified why they were getting rid of me in the first job. And it's that kind of pattern and that fear of the pattern, the fear of not failure. I'm perfectly fine with failure. I can fuck it up, and as long as I've got the opportunity to get up and go again. Yeah. But it's when that opportunity runs out, because people with patience, they do run out.
Yeah.
There's only so many times you can fuck something up, and there's only so much sympathy people can have. And the same thing applies domestically. Is it's a bit like sort of if I make a mistake once. I mean, if I was late to a date once, and Elena was upset. And that was because I was about to go away for 3 weeks. And she didn't say that part until later on, where she was like, look, come on, man, you're going to be gone for 3 weeks. And I didn't realise how she felt, because we'd only been together 2 months. But she felt like, she was like, look, you're 15 minutes late, man, come on. I just got caught up doing laundry and everything like that.
Time blindness.
Time blind. Fucking nightmare.
Is that another symptom of ADHD?
Oh, yeah. Such
blind.
an issue. Time blindness.
Jesus Christ.
But I'll say dealing with Les, you're not like late.
Oh yeah, that's a lot of effort goes into that sometimes.
Really?
Oh my gosh! And sometimes if you
sometimes irritately on time.
Oh yeah, because you know what? If you have an appointment at 1 p.m, you will not do anything. Nothing. Even though you have so much to do, and you can have time to do it, but because you are so determined not to be late, that you will just not do anything, and then you probably still will be late because then you'll be like focusing on the time too much, and then be like, oh shit, I was meant to leave 10 minutes ago.
Yeah. I remember. Like,
and then the train will do something.
I remember when we first did the podcast, and me and Les, like this is the Dr. Lou episode. Me and Les agreed to meet up 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
to be fair, it was mostly her. She's always late.
So I'm like,
I'm going to be protective of it.
We message each other. Me and Les message each other like, we meet up 5. I'm like, great, sweet. So I'll go to the gym, come home at 4, shower, eat some food, and then set up all the equipment. I didn't have as much equipment as we have now.
Yeah.
But I was like, come home 4, set up the equipment, we'd be ready to record at 5, sorry. He messages me at 3, saying I'm outside your house.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm in the gym. I'm doing a bench
because we'll be so focused.
Yeah. I'm in the middle of doing a bench press. I've been there for about 10 minutes. Literally, I've been in the gym for 10 minutes.
You should have seen our texts today.
And I was just like, I just happened to look down at my phone because I use it for music.
Our texts today were
like Marlon.
Sorry. I'm 2 hours early.
Yeah. I'm at Marlon. I'm outside your flat, and I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? I'm like,
because it works well with network,
the gym's about 10 minutes away, so I'm like, for fuck's sake, Les.
You have half an hour fucking time.
Get changed quickly, run all the way home, and he's outside the flat. And I'm like,
it's because there's half an hour fucking time.
And I'm like, Les,
there's a fucking time.
I'm like, Les, you said you got to be here at 5. What are you doing here at 3?
Mate, okay, so today, for example, like Holly and I were messaging each other this morning, was it? Yeah, okay, and we've communicated more in the last 2 days than we have in the last 3 years. But because we were so determined to be here, bang on.
Yes, I had a half day of work. That's why I asked for this day, because I knew I could leave work half day. Because I was so worried about not being able to make it on time.
I told my parents to stop buying me 3 pints. I was with them this morning, and I was like, 4 o'clock, I had to be home. So half an hour, bang on, 5 o'clock, I set an alarm for 5:30.
Yeah.
By 5:45, I was at the door. I packed my bag beforehand.
Wow.
Haven't even done anything with the bag.
There's so much preparation
Oh,
going
yeah.
to just being on time.
And then it was like, and then it was like, and then I got to the station. The thing got cancelled. I bounced off.
Right. And you did message me to say you got to
I
be
made
late.
sure that
I'm going to be late. And then you were sending me the same exact messages. And I've sent you my live location just so you knew that you weren't alone.
Thank you.
I did. You're welcome. Nice.
And honestly, I wish I set up, because obviously I finished work at 5, I got home at 6, had dinner. I wish I set up earlier because I forgot how long it takes to set all this equipment up.
But it seems like forever. I chose specifically, I chose a dress that I wouldn't have to iron or steam because
same t-shirt.
I know otherwise then I'll get
ironing.
Focused on that and my awareness of how long things will take.
But the thing is though, you're on time though. That is crazy that you have to think that.
Not all the time.
Mate, no, it's like it's just
open.
It can be a struggle.
Of course you can, sweet cheese.
I mean, it's the same one I've just been drinking. I just finished a bottle.
Hey, you know what? Go on. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, it can be a struggle, and if you have an appointment at 4 p.m. Like you don't want to risk starting anything because if you then don't realise what the time is, that's it. You're screwed.
Nope, fucked. Totally fucked.
And you'll miss it.
Yep, and I have the same thing with meetings in the day. Like, for example, I'd have a 2 p.m. meeting and I would do loads of work, but I would have alarms set, I would have reminders. I mean, today I had an alarm set for 5 o'clock. I have one for yesterday. I had to be on site. I was doing some building work at 1 o'clock, and I showed up at 1:10, and I felt bad. But he was like, "Hey, he's a really nice bloke." Actually, you know what? Building, it's weird because it's like I wouldn't normally have made. I usually work in sort of tertiary areas, like people with degrees, things like that. But being on site is amazing. Like it's straight up. They just show you how it's done. They're like, "Oh mate, here's what you do. Done." And like, all right, got it. And then they keep an eye on you. You do it once. I've screwed up the second one. I just got the stones in the wrong order or something like that. It wasn't a big deal. It wasn't the end of the world. But the mix was fine. But but I tell you what, I really loved it because it was like all that it's all that effort. You're physical. You don't have to talk all the time. And when you do, people are lovely. And I don't get why there's all that stigma against builders. Admittedly, yes, fine. A woman went past and yes, we did whistle. No, I'm joking. You're not allowed to do that anymore. You get 2 years into the clink for that. Like 2 years for whistling at somebody. It's like, what happened? Yeah, okay, I won't do it again. You fucking pricks. But if you swindle the government for millions, that's fine because you're in the fast lane. And if if you don't mind killing off half of the elderly generation, then it's okay because you're the Prime Minister. I've been watching the COVID inquiry. Let's not get too political. No. Prick. But yeah, I went to a stag do. We had to be at the airport at 5 o'clock, and the worst thing happened was they kept changing the flight time the night before, and I was like, "Fuck." Because Elena was coming for a different flight at like 10, and we were supposed to be leaving at 6. We had the lounge booked, everything like that. We were there at 5 a.m. I did not sleep that night. Yeah, so we're in Berlin having a stag do, and I'd been awake for 24 hours at that point. And I was wasted because it was great fun. But but
exactly that's how it works because you're just so nervous about missing it.
Yeah, exactly. And I had like 4 alarms set. I had everything like that. Fucking exhausted.
Out of interest, so for a basic thing like a flight, if you're like traveling,
we're worse than dads.
Oh yeah,
we are worse. Than dads.
How early do you get to the airport? Because me and my wife have this debate. Because I like to be early all the time for things. Like my wife is like, "Oh, you don't need to get there that early. You only need to be."
I will aim.
Jamaican time. He's shit.
Yeah, Jamaican. He's
the most British Jamaican.
Yeah, Jamaicans are notoriously bad for being on time.
I used that expression the other day. Someone called me racist, and I was like,
"You can't say
Marlon
that."
Told me, and they were like, "Oh, we've always got a black friend halfway." I'm like, "You can't." He is.
You can't say it.
You can't say it. But
Marlon can say it. You can't say it.
Definitely.
That's
to
racist.
be honest, I don't even think it's a Jamaican thing.
Why can't I say it?
I don't even think it's just a Jamaican thing. I don't know. I think it's a black.
I was thinking about this actually earlier. We should do a little segment of like things that make Les sound racist.
Oh no,
it's not. But seriously though, like we're notoriously
idiots. Get it.
We're notoriously late for things. But for not me, my family for some reason broke this curse, and we are always early, super early for things. Like I get to interviews an hour early, scout out the area, go to a coffee store.
That's a good move.
Scout a coffee store, make sure I know where I need to go to.
Yeah,
and that's how I operate when I go to interviews. But me and my wife have this debate when we go for flights. So she's like, "Oh, we only going to Europe like in Europe, we only need to get there 2 hours early, and I'm like,
what? That's a fucking name.
Yeah, and I'm like, no, get there 3 hours early. Like, you don't need to.
You can rely on you.
But I'm like, you don't know what's gonna happen. But something might happen. You might run late. There might be delay.
Yeah.
Or
See, I will aim to arrive early, knowing that I will get lost in my head.
Yeah.
Give yourself the extra half hour.
Yeah.
Half
I
hour
will.
of grace
I will
period.
tell myself, even like sometimes for appointments, I will put them in my calendar half an hour early, because I know that I will mess
Also,
up.
if you've got any questions, if you've got anything you want to talk about, let's start there.
Hardest part about being an ADHD surgeon is the stigma, but I think that's the hardest part about being neurodivergent in any
I
profession.
lost all faith in that publication when they said that about you.
Yeah.
I was like, go fuck. I mean, I'm obviously very protective over you because
Thank you very much.
She's my girl.
Thank
Fuck
you.
You know, I was like, I'm not having that.
Thank you.
I'm like, the girl's a genius.
That is, oh no,
Success,
definitely
I'm
not,
not
definitely
having
not.
this.
Thank
I'm
you,
not
but I
having
think it's probably the stigma, and I'm lucky in the place I'm working in now. But it's going to be a worry in any place I go into.
For me, it's
but
every work environment. All I really want to do is belong in a way, and I think that's why I was so upset about losing that last job, because it's like I knew that it was an ADHD friendly place, and I still fucked it. Yeah. I was so upset, but I fucked it because a neurodivergent person said, because a normal person said that I wasn't quite there, and it's horseshit.
It's hard.
She influenced my voice.
And there is a stigma, and it can just people can then have preconceived ideas of you and not give you a chance. And I think that's something that needs to change, not just for ADHD, for any neurodivergent diagnosis. And I think things like this just open up that narrative and that dialogue so that people can talk about it. And
I guess with ADHD, you'd be like, you're good at maybe entertainment, being creative.
We are pretty cool.
But like, I guess putting somebody in charge of my medical well-being is a different story. Or even like something like being a pilot or something, I think would be a different like thought process for me. Like putting somebody with ADHD in charge of that. Just because you know the history of people with ADHD. What I mean.
Well, this is it. You think ADHD, you think sort of 8-year-old boy who's jumping off the sofa, screaming and shouting.
I never actually did that.
No.
I was never like that. I was very, very.
But that's what most people will think, and it's not that, and it's probably a really badly named diagnosis actually
within the community.
Yeah,
I mean, I say the community as if I'd really connect. The point is that it's like it's not so much a deficit, it's
dysregulation.
Dysregulation. It should be, and they should change the D.
Yeah.
Well,
so before we wrap up, what I want to ask you, what made you want to get into being a surgeon? What drove you to do? Because clearly something drove you to do, because you had like many hurdles to overcome to get to where you are now. So what made you want to do it?
Age 2.5, I was hospitalised with my asthma, and then ended up being hospitalised a number of times. And I decided that I wanted to be a doctor because they kept saving my life. So I made that decision really young, and it stuck with me.
They do stick with you.
Yeah. And then I went to medical school, and I quite enjoyed my surgical placements. I was in a relationship at the time, and he made the decision he kind of vocalized that it wouldn't work for both of us to be surgeons if we want a family, so he'll be the surgeon. And I was a little bit naive. It's fine.
Wanker.
It's okay. It's fine. I was a little bit naive. It's okay. And I kind of just went along with it. And then we broke up. It's okay.
You were like 18.
So what made you
post-grad.
Okay, go on.
What made you specialize in urology?
Well, so then I hadn't thought much of it again. We broke up, and then I was like, actually, I might quite like it. I did some surgical specialties, really liked general surgery, but realised I liked the on-calls, which were nice and busy, more than the day-to-day job. But I also then realised that it probably wasn't going to be sustainable for the long term. And it was my friend Rosie, who I mentioned earlier. We spent Galentine's together. And
what's Galentine's?
Girl Valentine's.
Oh,
hell yeah.
Don't.
And she
Looks
knew
like Suicide Watch.
No.
Go on, no, you're fine.
And she knew a lot of people over the years had said that I should consider urology. Yeah. And I had my housemate, one of my best friends, was also in urology, and I used to say, why would you want to do that? And then I thought, I will give it a go. The hospital I'm working at, actually, they interviewed me, and I had no urology experience. They took a chance on me and took me on without.
The way that I always succeed is that people, there's that one person that sees that you're actually really keen, they see the sparkle, and they're like, yeah, go on then. That's how I got into journalism. Yeah. Honestly, I mean, I was not supposed to be a journalist, but I was, and I was damn good at it. But yeah, it's like,
And then I've been loving it ever since. And I remember someone telling me, you know, is it that we choose our specialty or does the specialty choose us? And I think that might be part of it. And
that's what most successful people say, is that I accidentally became this.
And one of my colleagues used to tell me, he's like, Holly, look around, who are the happiest surgeons? Urologists. He's like, I think you'd fit in.
Aww.
That was very nice.
It's a really weird thing that they'd be happy about, because I'd have thought the happiest ones would be like, you know, I don't know, like the ones who get to do the cool stuff, like, you know, like
we get to do cool stuff. Thank you. I slice and dice.
What do you slice and dice?
Yeah, you don't want to know.
I do.
What kind of things do you do? Do you deal with cancer, kidney stones? What kind of things do you deal with for guys?
For guys, kidney stones, circumcisions, testicular abortions.
Oh, adult circumcisions.
Yeah.
So how do you get? What's the oldest way to get a statistic?
Randomly, what's the oldest guy?
We're talking about penises. We're all here.
I think he was in his 70s.
Oh my! Why would you do that in your 70s?
Why would you hurt him? Sorry. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. I've been Les, obviously.
I'm Marlon White,
and this is
Holly Colvin.
Our fantastic little doctor. Well, not doctor, sorry, surgeon. We said surgeon.
So I'm a doctor.
Well, doctor and a surgeon. A surgeon and a doctor.
So what was it like when you received that title? Because I remember I work in universities.
Oh my gosh,
I remember somebody that I had to do like a planner and had to update her title from Mrs. to Doctor. Yeah. It was like a big moment.
Oh, when I got Doctor? When we had to go and to the universities to see if our names were on a piece of paper. My feet didn't touch the ground as one of my best friends. My mum carried me up the stairs, and my eyesight is better than theirs. And I remember seeing it from must be triple this length across the room.
Carry you?
Because I was so nervous. I couldn't I couldn't walk. And I remember just seeing my name, and I was like, it's on there. And they both admit they looked at each other like, are we sure she's got this right? Because that's very far away. I was like, I'm on there. And the three of us basically fell on the floor and cried.
Oh my God.
So receiving the doctor title was huge. I love my crying.
Yeah.
Hey, it lets out a lot of emotions. Yeah. And it's healthy. Crying is healthy.
Especially somebody with ADHD.
Yeah.
You've overcome a lot.
Thank you.
Well done to you.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Woman.
Thank you. I'm very lucky to have had so many people.
It shows everybody that you can achieve your dreams no matter what obstacles you have.
Yeah, you're somebody I've absolutely always admired as well.
You.
And I'm not just saying it to kiss your ass. I mean, not just because you're a guest, but genuinely, I was like, she's got ADHD and a surgeon. I was like, jackpot. Yeah. And you were single at the time as well, I think. I was a bit like, hello.
And when Les mentioned, you've got a surgeon with ADHD, I'm like, bring her on.
Exactly. You were straight on the, you were top of the list, straight on.
I know.
And you were like, are you sure? And I was like, fuck yeah, we're sure.
Yeah. And we'll love to have you on again.
I would love to come back
and bring your boyfriend as well, just because it'd be funny.
You've been brilliant. But let's wrap this up.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you for being on the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's been an honor.
You're welcome back anytime.
Yay, thank you.
Look at her shifting all over a seat. It's really cute. Okay, right. Holly,
that's a wrap.
Thank you.
All right, we're done.